Hello, everybody. I'm your host, Eric Bird, here at StopStrugglingNow.com. And tonight, gold and silver boom. That's right. There should be a lot of excitement, but I always have to temper it a little bit because basically, gold and silver boom is because it's always been undervalued. Manipulation by the United States government and other governments around the world to make sure ordinary citizens can't pick up a piece of those metals, and they turn into thousands, not just the 4,600 for the gold, not just the $84, $85 for the silver. We're talking about silver should be in the hundreds. And I'm not talking about 100, 200, 300, 400, 500 either. I'm talking about more per ounce. I'm not talking about $4,600 with gold. I'm talking about $100,000. Now you understand the conundrum. We'll get into that and so much more because the wealth boom has started. And if you're sitting on the sidelines, do not watch the parade go by. You do have to invest. Inflation is only going to get higher. If you missed our live stream on Friday night, I suggest you go check it out because manipulation of the bond market is how you print more money. And welcome. Stop struggling now, gear. Check. And please like, subscribe, and click the bell below so you get the latest updates. Now, let's get to it. All right. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank you so much for being here. We are live. And please share the videos so you never know who's out here looking for information, who needs this information. Remember, we always have said you should have a little bit of gold and a little bit of silver. I'm not a stacker, but a little bit of gold and a little bit of silver would be nice to have when the prices escalate like they've been escalating over the last month. Again, maybe there's new people watching. You do understand, if you don't understand why they are escalating now versus years ago, because the manipulation was always under wraps. We've never had a president who has went rogue and decided to put tariffs on all countries, even our allies, and print more money than anybody under 2 terms. He already did 23% of our deficit the first term, and he's well on his way to produce that again to actually create almost 35 to 40% of our deficit in his 8 years. If that happens, 2 terms, he's well on his way to do it. That is why the rest of the world is concerned. That is why gold, silver, precious metals are going boom. And inflation is raging here in America. Now, do not believe the 2.6, 2.7, 2.9 BS. In case you missed it, the last inflation report, which was months old, they only included 3 items of the 20 items on the list. They didn't count the other 17 items. Therefore, the number is BS. The reason why is because those of you who aren't paying attention, financial literacy matters. You don't understand the repercussions until you go to the store and you look around and you start going, what are these prices that you're seeing? But ladies and gentlemen, what are you going to do about it? Well, there is a thing called the stock market. You could have invested in the gold and or silver, platinum, palladium commodities on the stock market. You could have just bought them, right? gold, XAU, silver. You could just buy them paper wise. You could also do stock trading, which is also, you don't have to own it, and you could reap the rewards. Or you can also buy the top 30 of the biggest stocks. And most of you guys know the Magnificent Seven. So you could have invested in those and you would have been good. They've risen and they're going to continue to rise. But the silver stackers, they're rejoicing. But I just have a question for the silver stackers because, see, this is where I get off the train. I have a detour, but we'll talk about the detour in a second because we have post-retirement travel in the house. That's right. Mr. Worldwide 2 is here, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome. Because he has that icon next to his name, which I humbly appreciate because that means he's a member of the channel. And he brings his tagline tonight on the SSN Nation Money Making Monday live stream. He says, hello, all. Let's do this. And what he means by let's do this is discussions. If you want to join in, chat rooms open to everybody. You want to join in silently? Fine. But make sure you have your pen, pads, and papers ready because you never know what somebody's going to say that's going to help you out. And all you got to do is a little bit of discovery, a little bit of checking things out. Your own research. Does this sound familiar? And you want to know something else? What I find fascinating has what has always been said. Write it down in a book. Nobody's going to find out about it. And I guess that's why Project 2025 actually worked, because nobody decided to read it. And now look at us. The signs of gold and silver rising quickly like this is a bad sign for America. America has world currency. People losing faith that the currency is worth something means they withdraw their money out of the United States system and they buy gold, silver, platinum, palladium, and anything else that they deem as a safe haven. That means our currency devalues. That means gold and silver will continue to rise as long as we have this situation where the president is not saying stop. He's saying, let's go straight forward ahead with what I started last year. Repeating the same thing over and over after you did it 7 to 8 years ago, and you did it again, and you have the same results: loss of jobs, loss of manufacturing jobs, loss of livable wage jobs, and taxes, energy rising dramatically. You know what that means? Exactly what the numbers say. 8 out of 10 people are living paycheck to paycheck here in America during the month. Does that look like gold and silver is going to have a crash? I think not. I gave you all the reasons why you should have a little bit of gold and silver, even at these, oh my God, insane numbers. If somebody would have told me a year ago gold was going to be $84, $85, $86 per ounce, I would have said, you're right. Because if the madman does what he says he's going to do, the currency's going to be effed up. And the world is going to be in disarray. And therefore, the world says everybody understands the value of gold, silver, and precious metals. So therefore, the currency devaluation does not matter. And the world is making it happen, ladies and gentlemen. They aren't shy about buying at 4,600, 4,650. They're not shy. So don't you be shy to think about it. So much for the Bitcoin rally. Where's that at? Dropped from 125 back down to 90, and it's still sitting around 90, right? 90,000, that is. So again, gold and silver thinkers or stackers, congratulations. You guys were halfway right. It was inevitable. And guess what? It's still way undervalued, which is crazy. So once again, let's go. We have 2 hands, 1 dial. I like it. Welcome to the SSN Nation Money Making Monday live stream. And he brings his tagline, stack, 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 stack. Well, see, I knew we're going to have stackers in the house. They're going stack, stack, stack. But I just got to tell you something now, stack. 2 hands, 1 dial. Think about something. So, 5 years ago, when you bought and stacked, and it was $13 an ounce, 5 years ago, right? Somewhere in that ballpark. What happens if you buy now at $80? That means your dollar cost average rises. Does that give you an advantage? See, that's where I diverge from the stacking, because I'm creating a higher price after I bought at a lower price if I keep stacking. So the other problem is, as we all know, is if 5 years ago it cost me $13 an ounce and now it costs me 80, doesn't that mean we have a 6x, right? That means the prices of everything at least 6x'd from 2020, 2021, right? So I can't buy anything more than I could buy 5 years ago. I can only buy the same thing if I'm lucky, because devaluing the currency and manipulating the gold and silver prices to be below what they should be keeps you in the same position that you would have been in if you would have done just a little bit of, let's see, what could I have done? Well, if I'd have bought treasuries, I would have only gotten 24% over 20% over 5 years. That's not good enough. If I'd have bought stocks, well, the Magnificent Seven, they were all in single digits 5 years ago. They're not in single digits anymore. So those stocks outpaced gold and silver. So again, pay attention, ladies and gentlemen. There's nothing wrong with stacking, but you also need to invest in the stock market as well, because the stacking part keeps you level. The actual assets like stocks that the top 10% own 93% of the stock market, they make sure those keep roaring. Along with, you know who else? The Federal Reserve. Because without the Federal Reserve, you can't print money. Without the Federal Reserve, they can't loan at 0% interest with banks to make sure money is still liquid. And you can go to the bank and say, I need 5Gs, I need to withdraw. You understand there is a system that is a cluster F, and it's going down one day. Again, I told people 30 years ago, you live in a third world country, but you don't know it yet because it's been manipulated to stop it from falling down. And here we go again. Now, silver, gold, and precious metals, I do believe will, of course, increase because inflation is not 3%. And by the way, if you guys believed that 5 years ago when they said inflation is, let's say 2.5, I don't know what the numbers were. Biden came and all of a sudden they said it's 2.7. Then the next year they said, oh, it's 3.5, 3.9, 4% in 2022, right? 6, 7%. If you start doing the numbers, it still doesn't add up, does it? So if Trump's last year, his first term, and it was, let's say 2.8, I don't know the actual number. Then let's say Biden's first year, it's at 3.5. Biden's second year, let's say it's 6%. Let's say, in fact, let's just say Biden's second year through his third and fourth year, it's 6%. So if you add those all up, you're only like at 23%, 24%. I don't know about you guys, but when I go to a store, everything is way more than 20 some percent. Make sure you smash that like button because we got gold and silver stackers in the house, and I got to raise the roof because I got to show some love because, quite frankly, we were talking about it 6 years ago. You should be stacking when it was $12 an ounce, $13 an ounce. You should have been buying some of those miners, some of these other companies that are involved with gold, silver, copper, platinum, palladium. We were talking about it because it was inevitable what was going to happen. We just didn't know we were going to have a rogue nation that was going to expedite the situation. So he expedited the situation with a worldwide tariff war and devaluing our currency in plain sight. Because when you decide again that you're going to do a $4 trillion addition to your national debt over the next 10 years, and you decide to spend $2 trillion in 1 year, and you have no money, you're already in a deficit, then that does create a problem, ladies and gentlemen. That means stacking is necessary. Now, again, even at $80 prices for silver, even at $4,600 for gold, guess what? I know people are gonna laugh. If you're not a stacker, you're gonna laugh at this. They're so undervalued still at these prices. And guess what happens is the same thing happening now. Countries are sitting there saying, let me take out our treasury, sell those treasuries, man. I don't know if we're going to get paid 4%. They're already maxed out. They got to pay $1 trillion in interest only for that fake money. I don't think we should be buying those anymore. I think you guys, we should all be buying gold because gold has a value. Like right now, it popped up. Isn't it funny? What if MicroStrategy, instead of buying Bitcoin, remember Bitcoin, 17,000, 20,000 like 5 years ago? Or 4, somewhere in there. What if they would have bought gold and silver instead and actually had a treasury? Because that could be, used as assets under management, just like Bitcoin, right? Funny thing. This little boom all of a sudden is like, wait a minute, wasn't it like 1,600, 1,300 gold like 5 years ago? And it's not volatile. So now the rest of the world is out here buying gold instead of our treasuries because they cannot rely on the value of the currency maintaining itself. And all you have to go is DXY to go see the dollar. And we lost 9.3% in 2025. The value of the dollar, the hidden inflation that nobody talks about. So if you go, we lost 9.3% buying power. Gold and silver said, I see your negative 9.3 because we're going to get our 9.3 as an offset. That's one offset gold and silver and precious metals gets. Then when you say, hey, we're running a deficit and we're going to increase the deficit, there's another problem. You're devaluing the currency every day as you print money. So again, is it really 9.3 negative, 9.7 negative, or is it really more like 20% negative? Gold and silver and precious metals don't lie, ladies and gentlemen. That's why you always need a little bit. And I know the stackers are watching tonight, so make sure you guys smash that like button. It's not that I don't really like stacking. It's just that I just don't really like it staying the same. The problem, like I said, in fact, go look at NVIDIA, go look at Apple, go look at Tesla, go look at Google, go look at Amazon 5 years ago. Now, we know they went more than 4x, right? We know they went more than 5x because Apple, Tesla split. And they've still risen to crazy numbers. They're overvalued. Let's just call it what it is. They are actually more valued for gold and silver than their stock price. What happened with their stock value is actually the value of gold and silver. So when you start thinking about it and somebody goes, oh, I got like a 700% return, an 800% return, I did great. Now you might want to start thinking, ladies and gentlemen, why you need a little bit of gold and silver and precious metals, many different forms. Now, I'm not going to keep going about it, but Obsidian, Lion, the code keepers in the house, welcome to the SSN Nation Money Making Monday live stream. And he brings his tagline this evening. Hello, family. Hello to you. Thank you so much for being here once again. Two hands, one dial says he loves that physical stuff. Hey, I understand. You should have physical. I agree with you 110%. I just have a different point of view because I don't know about you guys. Are you watching these mass bandits kidnapping people, taking their cars, going to their house, taking and robbing the people, and they work for the government? And they're arresting US citizens. So when somebody says I'm stacked, I got it, I'm physical, I'm like, right on. The problem I have is, when armed bandits come to your door and threaten you and they have a group of people and they say, get out or die, I don't think you're going to go back and pick that up and carry it. And even if you could, I'm not thinking you going too far with 30, 40, 50 pounds of stuff in a bag that's going ching, 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 right? In case of emergency. Go ask people in Venezuela what happened when they needed to bring their gold across the border. And by the way, I told the story before, but you guys can Google it. When they went over next door to Colombia, and a perfect example is right now, they said, oh, I'm running for my life, but I got some gold and silver. When they went to Colombia, they said, Colombia guys that have the gold and silver and precious metals, they go, we know you're fleeing for your life. I'll use today's number. Oh, how nice. You have 30 ounces of gold. How nice. You have 100 ounces of silver. Well, since you're fleeing for your life, and you go, wait, hold on. It said it was $84 an ounce. Yeah, I know, but you're fleeing for your life. So, will you take 40 an ounce for your silver? So, $4,600 an ounce for gold. But see, you're fleeing for your life. So maybe you'll take $2,700 for your ounces of gold, especially since you carried it all this way and you're in jeopardy if somebody steals it, takes it from you. That's what happened, ladies and gentlemen, just so you get an idea. And that's what's been happening ever since the stacking situation, just like in 1930s when the United States government said, oh, we're in trouble. We spent, wait, hold on. We did exactly what Trump was doing in 1929, 1930, 1928. That same president, the second worst president in the country ever, did the same thing, ladies and gentlemen. And then after they did it, they told people, oh, patriots, give us your gold. In fact, we're just going to ban it. So then people made jewelry out of it so it wouldn't get confiscated. Yes, just like we have ICE going house to house damn near illegally against the Constitution. That's what they were doing then. All right. You guys getting the picture yet? So again, when you say I'm stacking silver and gold and precious metals, I just have a few words. Make sure you put it in a safe spot that maybe not is at your house. I'm just saying, you never know when bandits may show up. That is one of the cautionary tales because government does steal money. So back in the 1930s, they froze and said, I'm sorry, you need to turn in your gold. We're coming to get it. Just like Venezuela did also, by the way. So third world country, Venezuela, they did that too a few years back. America already did 100 years ago to their citizens. And by the way, silver, they locked that down too a few years later. It's not currency like the Constitution says. See how governments work. So again, I applaud the gold and silver stackers because it's a necessary thing. You should have some. But again, just keep in mind, you never know when your country's going to do something real, real crazy. And by the way, real, real crazy looks like when you say, I'm going to take over Greenland, and NATO says, we got a problem. I don't think so. And aren't they our allies? The rest of the world says, where can I get me some more gold and silver? Do you guys see how this is setting up for the gold and silver boom that will continue? And now, because of Iran jumping in, they should jump in. Now, there's going to be this other thing that you know who said anybody does business with Iran, you're going to get a 25% tariff. The rest of the world is going, let me sell them treasuries. I need more gold and silver. So if you are doing stock market trading, there was a big today, you should have been a winner with that as well. And you could have been a winner with swing trading, option trading. It does not even matter at this point. United States has the world currency. All right, just keep this in mind. Oh, by the way, thank you so much for mentioning this. Two hands, one dial. Exactly. We were talking about copper 5 years ago as well. And this is now another good time to bring that up. Very, very nice. Thank you so much for bringing this up because you are exactly right. I wanted to talk about copper. I just went to go look at copper yesterday. I thought it was very interesting. The value hasn't really skyrocketed. In fact, year over year, I believe it was a little bit less than it was last year. But this is another one that's undervalued. I know, it's incredible. And it's so doggone cheap still. I can't even believe it. I agree with this 110%. So add this to your metals, ladies and gentlemen. That is another one. In fact, why don't I just go look right now, just so I can be uh, accurate. Copper. I don't want an ETF. Hold on. Commodities. What is copper? It was wasn't it like $2 and something, right? Let's go look. Wait, hold on. We have something different. Or was I not looking at copper yesterday? This looks like it's $5. What is this? $5. Uh, $5.98. So I'm way off. I'm looking at copper currency. What is that? Currency USD. Okay, $5. I like it. I don't know what I'm on. I'm on something different, actually. I can't. No, forget that. I'll do it a different way. Let me go a different way. I need a stock symbol for it. Let's go look. I don't want that. I don't want that. I don't want that. Okay, here we go. I got dollars per pound, which is something a little bit different. COMEX, historical chart. But again, hold on. But again, I'm glad you brought that up. ladies and gentlemen, it looks like okay, copper ain't so like clockwork, deficit, 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 and savings and loan debacle, real estate debacle. So, just so everybody understands, once again, just to give you guys an idea, 1987, copper went up 137.3% by itself. In 2009, it went up 138% by itself. Those are the highest two times. And then the highest third and the last since 1960, 66%, 1994. 1992, 88 to 92, another tax cut, tax break, and savings and loan debacle under G. Bush 1. Do you see a correlation yet? And we go to the dot-com bust with G. Bush 2, 49% in 2003 and the Gulf War scenario. Now, 2005, Gulf War scenario, 45%. And the next time we are at 40% is right now in 2025. And if things go according to history, we know under this plan, gold, silver, copper, precious metals, all of this is going to continue to rise at some astronomical rates. So, again, ladies and gentlemen, if anybody thinks otherwise, let's go. Or you can have gold exposure investing in the gold ETF like Fidelity FSAGX. This is very true. This is exactly how they have been able to keep the price of gold and silver and other precious metals down because they're using a derivative. That is by design. You guys have heard of gold dollars, gold certificates, silver dollars, silver certificates. This is also you buy gold via stocks, which are worth the paper it's written on. That's a derivative. The stackers have an advantage. The physical is a huge advantage. But if you just care about the stock, you might as well enjoy the ride as well. I like it. I can't even be mad either way. Enjoy the ride without the heavy lifting. I'm down for that as well. But it does hurt the price, the real price of gold, silver, and precious metals. Just so everybody understands. True, two hands, one dial. Thank you. I like that name too, man. I got to tell you again, it's pretty cool. Unfortunately, brass might be most valuable. Unfortunate is doggone right, man. That is a commodity. Hold on a second. Let me go look that up because I haven't looked up brass in forever. Let's go see. Doesn't matter. Metals start rising. bit is to mine most of it. So therefore, there's a cost. And that's why gold and silver and precious metals tend to keep their values based on inflationary numbers. And more people are flocking, countries are flocking, they're buying up gold, silver, precious metals. So therefore, the price should rise. It's making sense, right? I'm looking at the scrap monster. That's funny. That's funny. That is funny. They're talking about, geez, 80% change. Holy smokes. 45.97 is the COMEX metal price for gold. Palladium is 1,885. Copper is $5.98. Platinum is 2,330. Silver, $84.48. Copper, what do they say? They don't say. Interesting. Down 8.9 cents. Brass, I don't know. I don't know the brass price. Can't find it real quick. But anyhow, thank you for bringing it up because, again, this is what you should be paying attention to, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of things. Wow. Today, gold is 4.5K and silver is 84 an ounce. Yes, L Cool J, welcome to the SSN Nation Money Making Monday live stream. This is exactly what we knew was going to happen eventually. There was going to be a spike. But you know what's funnier is there's ways to go. And by the way, there's a lot of people watching this right now, so I got to throw down some things. You guys might need help out here. Go to findhelp.org if you're in the United States. Put in your zip code. There is all kind of helps for American citizens. 8 out of 10 American citizens are living paycheck to paycheck during the month. So don't front with me. All right. And also, we already know 60% of Americans don't have $500 in their bank account. We already know 70% of Americans don't have $1,000 in their bank account. So when somebody talks to me and says, I need help, I say, hey, Matthew Lesko told me on our live stream a year and a half ago, he said, tell everybody to go to findhelp.org. That's right. Findhelp.org. There's a lot of help there. You need down payment money for rent. You need down payment money for a mortgage. You need job training, a bunch of things. You need a little medical care. You need a bus ticket, a subway ticket, passes. They might have that. Again, depending on what city you live in, it depends on the nonprofits in your city that get funded by the state and federal government. And that's where Americans can get help. So go over there, findhelp.org. That's the first thing. Let's go. LL Cool J is in the house. L Cool J, that is. Exactly, man. It's only going to continue to rise. Here's the situation. As long as this administration that we have in America continues to do the tariff wars, continues to act like Rogue Nation and kidnapping another government's leader, and you're talking about gold and trying to hoard it out of one country when there's several countries that have their oil companies there in Venezuela, for instance, then you start talking about Greenland, which is going to create World War III. And then you're telling people, I dare you to do something with Iran. I dare you to do something with Russia. I dare you to do something against me. Now, all of a sudden, the rest of the world is saying, you know what? We need to figure out what we're going to do with this because this dude's acting just like he's from freaking Hitler reincarnated. He was talking mess like this too. So they're like, hold on, we've seen this playbook before and we're not going to sit around this time. Last time we were like, nah, no way. This ain't going to happen. Them German people aren't going to vote this dude in that tried to overthrow their government before. He was jailed and everything. They're not going to vote for that lunatic. Well, guess what? Germans voted for that lunatic and the rest is bad, bad history for a lot of countries. Great for US. We created manufacturing facilities. We started taking off because manufacturing facilities was here. We were China back then. We had all of everything. People would buy stuff made in USA, stamps on everything sent worldwide. Just like China now. We don't do that anymore. Everywhere else has manufacturing facilities. United States does not. So once again, gold, silver, and precious metal stackers are in the driver's seat because it's going to continue to go up. If you think 4,500 is too much, if you think $84 is too much, the only thing that the government's going to sit around in the United States doing, it different than other countries, the government of the US is going to go, hey man, we got to figure out how to stop people from buying gold and silver and precious metals. So we better come up with something. We came up with them silver and gold dollars and certificate stuff before. We already have a playbook, but we got to stop these guys from buying that because that gives them freedom. That means they can go anywhere in the world and sell that stuff and get it. We can't stop them. We can't manipulate them. We can't take it from their bank account. We can't take it and hold it and take it from their brokerage account. For all you guys watching right now, you have no idea if it hasn't happened to you by a government that calls themselves liberty and justice for all. When they confiscate something from American citizens, there's nothing you can do. All right? A lot of you watching this have never had a government against you. You've all been walking through life going, oh, we live in the coolest spot ever. Yeah, well, have your assets stolen by the government, gaslighting people, then come talk to me. And there's some people that's probably had this happen to them before. All right? Then come talk to me. Then you'll understand why I have to rock with the gold and silver and precious metal stacking of some sort. Because they can take your bank account, they can take your brokerage account, they can steal your house. I use the word steal because that's what it is. They can forge documents, not go to jail. All right? This happens by government, the USA government, just so you guys get, I'm clear about this. So again, this is what separates you when you have a little bit of gold and silver. And even if somebody's stacking, they have every reason to stack because there's people out here stacking Bitcoin. That's an electronic thing that doesn't even exist. You can't even hold it, touch it, smell it. And people are buying it. But guess what? You turn off the electricity. You somehow figure out how to stop the blockchains. That stuff's locked. So what happens? People go, let me have a cold wallet. Fine, have a cold wallet. But you do understand the government over the last 10 years, 15 years, they've been trying to figure out how they can access these blockchains, how they can infiltrate, how they can steal it from you, how they can do everything. You guys don't understand. This is why in the first 10 years, they said, oh, no, it's garbage. You can't do it. I don't like it. All the banks and everybody was saying, it's no good. It's fake. Don't do it. Now, all of a sudden, all these guys, oh, why don't we have an ETF? Oh, yeah, SEC, we're going to approve it. You could have ETFs. All of a sudden, we can regulate it now. It's all good. Well, the only reason they're regulating it is because you're giving them your name, your social security number, your IDs, all that regulated because now they can just take it from you because you better have self-custody just like you better have self-custody with gold, silver, and precious metals. All right? If somebody disagrees, let me know because that would be bad for you. All right. Okay, here we go. I got a lot at 11, 19, 30. I got a tube of 20 at $72. Well, congratulations, man. Exactly. Just think 5 years ago, 6 years ago, nobody gave a damn. It was like 10 to 12 to $13. I remember I had a silver stacker challenge where I said, everybody who wants to do it, it was, I can't really remember the exact setup for it, but it was something like it was August or September, somewhere in there. And I said, okay, I have 10 ounces of silver and we're going to put in, at the time, it was $135 shipped, by the way, on AppMex. So it was around $13 at the time. So there was a bet about if it's going to be above a certain number or below, and people put their money in. Only one person put their money up. And since I was on the low side, The other person won, so I had to ship him the 10 ounces of silver, which was $1,335 even with Atmex. All right, that's why I remember. That's why I know the price. So $11 could have been 2018, 2019, somewhere in there, because it was like 12 something, 13, and then we had a number. I can't remember what it was. It was like maybe 1325, 1330. It was somewhere in the 13, below 13 or whatever in the next 5 or 6 months. And it went above the number, just like similar to what's happening right now. Same thing. So here we are again. People, you did not lose out, but you understand how it works, the mechanisms that put you in place to do this. So this man over here is doing the salsa dance. He's just like, look at these numbers, 11, 19, 30, a whole tube of 20 at $72. See, this is what we're saying. This is it. Now he's sitting here like these 20. Let's just say this. Let's say he bought a tube of 20. What was that? That's not even, what do you mean a tube of 20? But nonetheless, let's just go a tube of 20, $220. A tube of 20, if we're talking about silver, would now be 1600, 1650, 1700 in 5 years. So that should give everybody an idea of the value, the real value of, if you start extrapolating things out and you say, okay, it cost him, let's just say, doesn't matter about the tube. Let's just say it cost $11. We got 20 ounces. That's $220. So if now all of a sudden it's $85 for 20 ounces, right? This is how much difference, ladies and gentlemen, that our currency has been devalued over the last 5 to 6 years. All right. So now, hold on. We got 20 times 85. 1,700 divided by 220. There you go. 700%. No, 772%. Ladies and gentlemen, just round up to 800%. I don't know about you, but that tells you why you need to invest. Yesterday's price is not going to be tomorrow's price. Today's price will not be next year's price. There's one thing guaranteed: when you devalue your currency, the value of everything is unknown. If somebody would have told you in 2019 that prices were going to be 800% more than whatever you're paying right now, you'd be like, have you lost your freaking mind? There's no way people would be able to afford that. And you would be absolutely right. And that is why 80% of the population is living paycheck to paycheck. And that number is actually from 1984. The prices have went up in 1984, 2024, 2025. Clearly, it cost a lot more money. Clearly, it's going to be more than 80% of people living paycheck to paycheck during the month. Do you think maybe 84%, 85%, like Canada? Because Canada is 85%. I think we're probably approached Canada and might have caught them, because I would not be shocked if the top 15% who make the most, the people that are at the 15, 16, and 17% are sitting there going, man, I make so much money, but I still feel like I can't afford nothing. There's a reason. All right? Your government's not helping by printing more money. The government would have helped if they just bought more gold and silver. Just saying. 37 people in the building. Hit the like button. I love that. Thank you so much. Smash that like button. The YouTube gods. Then all of a sudden, let us have some people on the live streams. I love it. I love it. I love it. How sweet is that? All right, true. Stay diversified. I have crypto, stocks, 401k, and a little physical silver and gold. That's exactly how you do it. That's how we do it. Stop struggling now. That keeps you in play, ladies and gentlemen, on a rainy, rainy night in Georgia or anywhere else in the world. If you are holding assets that actually have true value and you get into a bind, you can always go to a dealer. And quite frankly, let's just say today we have $85, right? Silver. If you go to the dealer, he's not going to give you $85. All right. He's going to probably take like I don't know, 3, 4%. He'll say, I'll give you 81 or something. But it is what it is. Unless you can sell to a single person, you know, man to man, you could say, hey, will you give me 85? The person says 84, whatever. But hey, that's what we're dealing with. You want some cash today for your silver, gold, precious metals? You got to pay a fee. But that's still one hell of a raise, right? If you got into a bind, right? So that's something you should consider. And I like this because this is what we were always talking about. You have to have a little bit of Bitcoin, a little bit of Ethereum, a little bit of gold, a little bit of silver, and you got to have a little bit of stocks. The top stocks that the United States government backs, the Magnificent Seven are backed. All right? Your Amazons, your Googles, your Teslas, your uh, Nvidias, that's it. They're all backed. Apple, Microsoft, they're all backed. Their stock prices are going to continue to rise. The Federal Reserve is built for them to rise. They're going to get the government contracts. They're going to get the subsidies, taxpayers. They're going to be getting your money. They're sucking the bottom 80% teat all the time, taxpayers. And you guys are voting for these dudes not to be taxed after they are paying non-livable wages for the most part, after they get free money out of your hard work. Eric, dropping gems. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. Raise the roof. Exactly. There should be nobody at the end of this year. We started talking about this 2 years ago because, again, you guys, I always get you guys, if we don't have that many people watching, but we always have a runway. We had a 3-year runway where we said in 3 years, this is what's going to happen. 2 years. We are now down to 11 months and today's the 12th. 11 months and around 18 days. December 31st, 2026, you need a 775 credit score. Why? Because you need to take advantage of the best credit deals available. We already have 80. I'm going to say 80 to 8. I'm just going to say 85%, just like Canada's living paycheck to paycheck, because I know 2025 didn't help anybody. All right. Prices escalated. There's no way more people aren't hurting. Grocery store, if you have a family of 4, I don't even know how you guys are dealing with it. If you have kids, I mean, the bill has to be $200-300 a week. I mean, I don't know how much people are spending a month. It's crazy, the prices at the grocery stores, no matter where you live. So nobody can fake that either. All right. But Eric, where are the copper bars at? I don't know where the copper bars are at. I've never bought copper bars. I don't even know if there's such a thing now that you mention it. Eric, where are the copper bars at? I don't know, man. Maybe we got some stackers in the house. They'll let us know. You're getting me excited about what's to come in 2026. Hey, man. Hey, we've been telling people this. Hey, come on. Post-retirement travel. Where you at? Tell them. Brian P., tell them. They've been here. They know. And oh, by the way, the reason it's coming is because this was all predicted. This was predicted. It just wasn't predicted at the swift speed because it was supposed to be a slow roll. But now this regime goes, F that. I just want all the rich guys to have all the money. So we're going to suck everything up to the top. Whatever's left, good luck. And by the way, what's left? Stock market is left. That's always going to be here. Asian market, Australian market, right? It doesn't matter. EU market, London market. It does not matter. Those will always be here because that's another way the corporations get to print money, by selling you pieces of paper called stocks, and you give them something in return, money. So that is why that will never go away regardless. But you know what? a stock market crash, if you know how to trade, will make you a ton of money. All right. So go to stopstrugglingnow.com. At the top is a menu. Get the Candlestick Trading Bible just to understand what you're looking at when you see candlesticks. After that, and it's 168 pages, by the way, so it's going to take you a little bit of time. After that, all of a sudden, your phone, because it's listening right now, you're going to start getting ads for people going, I'll help you trade. I'll tell you how to trade. I'll send you signals. Give me this, give me that. No, no, no. You need to learn, ladies and gentlemen, so you can fish without them. You need to know what you're looking at. And by the way, I want to do some stock stuff, but I can't do options yet because I don't understand options. But I have a few people here that trade, that do stock trading. So maybe one of these live streams, we have to start doing some live streams that we can discuss stock trading based on charts. That would be awesome because it's very dangerous to do it. Not everybody gets to win. We have like a 90% failure rate. So you can't be the faint at heart, but you also can't be foolish. And so therefore it is high risk, high rewards. Like today was not really high risk, especially when it's going up, 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 up. It's just a matter of you saying, well, is this enough profit? Is that enough profit? I'm getting this profit. It can't keep going. You need to know what you're looking at. All right. So go to stopstrugglingnow.com. You can, I got to do something. Now that I just remembered, last live stream, it was terrible. Why was it terrible? Not because of what we're talking about. It was terrible because that it didn't do a live replay. That's why it was terrible. So the live chat wasn't in the live chat replay, and it used to automatically click the checkbox for me. Come to find out, it didn't last time. And I have links just like right now in the chat room. If you want the Candlestick Bible, yes, it's free. Yes, you don't have to fill out something to give me your phone number and your email address. You can just click on the menu link and it'll download in PDF and you can download it. All right. It's simple. We don't do that here. All right. We want you to win. We need rising tides to lift all boats, because if you're not lifting it, then that means society goes downhill. That's not a good thing. All right. That is not a good thing. And while I'm back here, I'm about to click on, wait a minute, what's this? We're not monetized? Yeah, we're monetized now. Okay, there's another thing they're doing. I got to say this too, you guys. Thank you for watching the videos on replay. But what starts happening is the new monetization, they literally put commercials in every 3 minutes. And then I have to go back in and do crazy stuff. I have to actually delete them. It's insane. Okay, we have a live chat replay, live chat reactions. It's all here. What's happening? This one has it, so I'm not missing it this time. This is good. The last one, they didn't include it for some unknown reason. So I want to thank everybody for being here, because stacking is your way. Good. Viewer, used to be amazing. Good. I'll have to manually do it, so don't be messing around. Okay. So I'm doing a few things in the background. So again, I've added the Candlestick Bible, which is also going to be here. You guys can get it right now going to stopstrugglingnow.com, or seeing the menu at the top of this website, or you can go in the chat section and get it. Everybody on replay, if you're on your mobile and you can't see the live chat on replay, that is, and maybe even now, I don't know, but you hit the first comment and then scroll left, and then it'll give you a menu of a live chat. If you want to see live chat, then you can click that, and then the live chat will open. So then you can get some of these links. All right. Just like, what did we do the first time? Findhelp.org to help people out, right? That's what we did. So that's going to be in there. And you can go down in the description box, because I'm adding it as we speak. All right. So I'm adding a bunch of stuff as we speak, quite frankly. All right. So you'll find a bunch of things. You want to start your stock trading venture? Well, again, I'm a gold, silver stacking type of guy. All right. And again, notice what, again, let me get the name right. Two Hands, One Dial has said that he stacks physical gold and silver. You should always have things in that vein in your head, in my opinion. The reason why you stack it personally, physically, is so nobody can take it from you. Again, I've already described what happened earlier. People can take your bank accounts, your brokerage accounts, your crypto. If it's in a central exchange, they can, if it's on, you don't have your own wallet, they can take it from you then. So all of that should be a preview that you don't want our government holding any of our stuff that they can just grab. So that's why if I do stock trading, I can't use it on certain platforms because I use CoinEx. All right, just so everybody understands, I use CoinEx because they're not in the United States broker. And so therefore, they use crypto to upload. All right. So, I mean, they use USDT, USCD, but again, it's offshore, so to speak. And so if you want to get your trading a broker account, it has a demonstration mode. So therefore, when you first sign up, put it in demonstration mode. So then that way you have $5,000 so you can practice. So when you're reading your candlestick Bible, you can start looking at the charts and be like, oh yeah, I see. And you can learn how to do MetaTrader 4, which is kind of basic. Well, it's not really basic for new people. It's hard. But again, the point is you want to teach yourself to eat later. This could turn into not stock trading. Maybe you want to do option wheel trading like post-retirement travel does for the stock market. Maybe you want to do some other type of, there's all kind of trading going on. But at least you will understand what you're looking at. All right? Okay. If you guys have any questions, put it down. There's a chat room. It's wide open. Thank you so much, Monica Masela, for being in the house, and welcome to the SSN Nation Money Making Monday live stream. And my self-image, we got an image. Is that my self-image number 8? Okay. Doing a little promotion, are we? All right. I can't be mad at it. We lost you. Don't say that again, man. Don't say you lost me. MDA0214, Berkshire bought a gold fund one time and sold it. I agree with them that it's useless. Come on, man. What are you saying right now? Gold is not useless. I know you're not saying that. In fact, let me go see what you're saying, because I did not know that they bought a. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. You know why? Here's the thing. Here's the thing about gold. If you're in the ETF business, that's not the physical business. So if they actually bought an ETF, it makes sense because it's basically a derivative. Berkshire Hathaway sold all of its ETF holdings in the fourth quarter of 2024. Wait. Let me find this out. I don't know about this gold one. Sold. No, it's not worthless, man. The only reason I'm going to tell you why you say that is because you live in America. Because the people whose currency is 3-1, 10-1, 50-1, and they're holding gold and silver and precious metals right now, they're doing this. Oh, yeah, baby, because it's in dollars. Or, yeah, it'll be dollars, conversions. But the point is, they're happy as hell right now. It ain't worthless, if that's what you mean. All right, here we go. He bought Barrick Gold. There you go. That's another, acquired a new position of 20.9 million shares of Barrick Gold, a major gold and copper mining company in 2020. So remember, what was it? $13 or roughly thereabouts. Maybe 10, maybe 11, maybe 12. It wasn't moving. So it would make perfectly good sense. But by the way, since he's talking about Barrick Gold, let me go look at Barrick Gold because I know it's not that much more expensive. Because again, this is a mining company. It's only $50. $49 is Barrick Gold mining. Um, just to give you an idea, year over year, a mining company is different than the actual gold, physical gold. But 217%. There you go. So they rose if you held it, but they didn't hold it long enough. 2021, because I can only go back 5 years. Well, I can go back more. $22. So see, back then, again, $22 5 years ago. And then it went down to 18 for the mining company. Then when we were talking about it, oh, wait, hold on. I got to go to 2020. But anyhow, it hovered around 16, 15, 17 all this whole time. But guess what? All of a sudden, July 25th, August, all of a sudden, August goes from $23, August 2025, to $49 today. Doubled in less than 7 months. Double. And that is why most people were buying mining stocks. When gold popped, they popped. But if you would have been holding gold, you would have more than doubled. More than 100%. So that's not useless. That's for sure. They use derivatives to keep it down. Yes, that's exactly right. So let me go with here. Let me show you. So when you do gold, so here's the point. So Berkshire Hathaway, they bought 20. I'll round up 21 million. Was it shares or dollars? 20 million shares. Holy smokes! In 2020. So they spent. Why don't we just go find out? I'll just tell you the real deal. Let's go. We'll go max. I'll go look and see in 2020 what was the price. 2020. So we're around March is $21. It rose though, and probably because them guys buying it. It went up to 27 in April. I'd be willing to bet you them guys bought the 21 million shares. But the point is, let's just go to 20. I'll round up to $22. But check this out. 22 times 21 million. That's $462 million. You guys know what he should have done, as you guys very well know. The Oracle of Omaha is not the only one doing the trading and making the decisions. But imagine if he bought $462 million worth of gold in 2020. You follow what I'm saying? Let's go see. What would it be? About 15 to, no, it's not even that. It had to be like $12. Divided by $12. That'd be 38 million shares, by the way. So when you start agreeing with the rich dudes, see, they're rich. They don't really care. They're just looking at, oh, I get to make myself some extra money. But he has 30, he would have had 38 million ounces of gold just 6 years ago. And now we times it by 4,500. Oh, I get sick. Oh, oh, I'm sick. Oh, this $173 billion. Oh, make me sick. Oof, 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 oh, oh my. 173 billion. I'm sorry. I think that's a mistake. So again, going to the mining company, spending the money versus buying the gold and silver and sitting ends up being a huge mistake, even though Warren Buffett, well, come on, he's 90 some years old. Do you really think he was running things like 5 years ago? Seriously. But the point I'm trying to make is Warren Buffett's meter, he has a meter. He has a stock market meter overpriced. He knows it's overpriced. He knows that there is a currency devaluation happening every day. He knows this. So why would he not be in the gold and silver and stocks? Because he doesn't have to be. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't be, because everybody that has invested in it is now doing the salsa dance. All right. I don't understand. Won't that raise the price? That is correct. No, no, no. Oh, the mining companies actually mine. So he bought, in Buffett's case, I'll use this Buffett case because I don't know what you're talking about, but I'll cover a few bases. He bought stock in Barrick Gold Mining. That's on the stock market. That's a mining company that has no value for the gold. What he should have done, well, he should have bought, if he's going to do that, he should have just bought gold or silver or whatever. So if you have an ETF, they also are based on the gold price, not actual physical gold. So again, they're not buying gold. It's paper. It's a derivative. So that's 2 times we got derivative, right? So to speak. The mining company is actually a company helping them extract the gold and silver. They are not actually generally holding it, right? They don't take it out and then set it on the sideline and go, well, we got this amount of tons for the year. We're waiting for it to go up to $4,000. They're not doing that. So they're getting money from when people buy it from them. So that's another scenario. Then your question about if he would have bought physical gold, the price would have popped because he would have bought $21 million. It would have popped. Oh, and by the way, I was on, what was I on? Was I on gold? Hold on a second. Let me check something. Okay. Look at this. So the position was valued at around 565 million at the time and was a surprise move given Buffett's long-standing aversion to gold. He has a reason to have aversion to gold because he already knows it was being manipulated. It would make no sense for him to buy gold at his stature because he's sitting there going, why am I going to do that? Because there's no reason. It doesn't go up that much. I can just buy stocks, my Coca-Colas, my Geico, and all this and make, I don't even know what his stakes are, but he's not going to wait around. He didn't have to wait 30 years for it to pop. He's sitting there. His money was doubling and tripling within a year or two, especially since Reagan took over and he started the tax cut tax breaks and allowing corporations to buy back stock, doing the same thing we've been doing. So it popped the stock. There's no reason to put it in gold. Gold and silver was being depressed. Still is depressed, by the way. Right now, they're panicked, going, oh my God, Russia, Saudi Arabia, all these countries that's been buying gold over the last 10 years and silver, stacking it. JP Morgan was stacking silver like nobody's business. They're sitting there like, oh my God, can you guys believe this? Come on. They already know what's going to happen. Everybody watching this channel already knows what's happening. I've been talking about this for 5-6 years. We just didn't know when it was going to pop. We just knew you had to have some because sooner or later it has to start going up rapidly. It can't do this bullshit that's been going on over the last 50 years. All right? Can't do that. And so all it needed was a little rattle, a little tariff situations, a little unpredictability, and now it's off to the races. And for the first time, there's an intersection where gold and countries are buying gold instead of U.S. treasuries. Do you understand what that means? That means if they don't buy our treasuries, we can't print money. I've already said this. There's a correlation. So they're going, we're betting against the United States world currency. We're buying gold. We don't care about the 4% you're giving us a year. That's what they're saying now. They're like, forget that 4%, 4.1%. We ain't waiting for that. Your currency is worthless. And we're getting tired of you telling us we got to have a bank in your country in order to get US dollars and all this other crazy nonsense. So, in other words, the rest of the world is now going, you know what? We need to separate ourselves a little bit. Even our allies are going, we need to separate ourselves because they are older than the United States. They've seen this play out before. Remember, Spain, France, UK at one time had world currency. The allies. Never before has the enemies had world currency. China, Russia, Saudi Arabia. Yeah, Saudi Arabia. Right. 9/11. Right. Again, you guys are sitting there going, what's he talking about? Saudi Arabia? Yeah, Saudi Arabia. Come on, guys. It's not Iraq. But the point is, this is the whole point. The rest of the world's going, we can now, the gold is 4,500 wherever we're at. That's the thing. As long as there's no, war situations going on where the country next to you is going to go do what Colombia did with Venezuela years back. But the point I'm trying to make is they can go anywhere in the world and sell it and get their 4,500. You can go anywhere in the world and get your $85 less whatever the little fee is, whether it's 1, 2, 3, 4%. But they damn sure know if they take the currency, last year, America lost 9.3% of the currency value. So we don't want that paper. You lose 9.3, 9.7% of value. And since you're printing more of it, that means it's going to cost more tomorrow. When we start moving transportation around, doing all this crazy stuff, because it's the production. That's the transaction. So when we're drilling for oil, your dollar value's going down. The guys over in, it doesn't matter where they are, whatever country in the world says, well, we want to buy some USA oil. And then they turn to them and say, oh, you got to have USA dollars. You got to transact this. You have to get some dollars to buy the oil because they're buying it from Saudi Arabia. They're tired of that. They're like, man, that $100 million is only worth like 90 million right now. We lost like 9.3%. We lost like 10%. Now it cost us 110. Nah, man. We don't like that. That's not cool. And they're over there printing money. They're over there trying to charge us a tariff of 25 to 30%. Ah, nah. Hey, who wants to sign up with BRICS? Eventually, we're going to have to end this nonsense. All right? There you go. There you go. You see how it goes, ladies and gentlemen? Once you understand how you would think if you were outside of America, then you don't say silly stuff. You're not going to sit there and be like, oh, we're in our own bubble. The United States stock market is the number one stock market in the world. The United States economy was the number one economy in the world for a long time. China, though, they're here. And the world is partial to them because they're signing up with BRICS, which is part of China. And the way America's operating, they're just like, well, how bad can these guys be? And I'm going to tell you right now, you better be holding something like gold, silver, precious metals. You better be having something outside of America because there could come a day where just like France, Spain, UK no longer has world currency. And look what happened when they didn't have world currency because they did the same thing, printing money, unlimited amounts, all whatever they wanted to do, all that crap. Same thing. Devalue. Oh, by the way, currency always goes to zero. You have thousands of years of history of currency. They always go to zero because currency is, if I have, just think of the currency you have on you right now. In order to get more of the currency out to the general public, what do I have to do? I have to print more of it because we have people hoarding it, saving it, right? Not all currency is available, right? We have people who just put it in safes, stack it in warehouses. It's not in circulation. So, what does that mean? I have to print more money. Now, what happens when I can't tax my citizens as much as it costs to run the country? Now I have to print more money to run the country. You're devaluing the currency. And therefore, that is why they said originally up until 1972, oh, don't worry, it's backed by gold. Every dollar that we give out is backed by some part of gold. So that's why we can print more. All right? So if we can print more, don't worry, we have the gold to back it. The world said, okay, we good. Until you know who, Tricky Dick Nixon said, we may not have the gold, which I suspect. And why do this when we can just have Saudi Arabia? You guys make sure everybody that gets oil has to use US dollars. Are we good? And we're going to protect you. You don't need any weapons or nothing. Don't worry about it. We'll have some bases over there to make sure them oil fields and everything stays intact. And the whole Middle East, are you good? They said, yes, we're good with that. So that's how the petrodollar started, backed by transactions with gold. And that's why America always fights for oil. In case anybody's not paying attention, you better get yourself a little bit of gold, silver, precious metals that we're talking about tonight. So there you go. What makes gold a top asset? Hey, that's a good question for Google. Okay, here's the first question and answer that all gold and silver stackers say. It's a store of value. Because I just showed you where Warren Buffett effed up. If he would have held that, all of those millions of dollars worth, it would be off the charts. He doesn't need the money. But the fact of the matter is, that is the store of value based on when your government does what our government has been doing for 100 years. The rest of the world already knows where this goes. And so, United States citizens, we have silver stackers, gold stackers, platinum, palladium stackers, copper stackers. We have metal stackers because they know where this goes. And here's the other part where this goes. People pass away, people die. You keep it in the family. Guess what? Your children or your children's children or whoever's in your family, it's passed along. The wealth is passed along. And guess who knows you have the wealth? Nobody. The government doesn't know. That's why in 1930, when they said, hey, be patriotic, we need gold. And people said, I don't think so. That's when they said, oh, hold up. We're going to come get it. We're going to confiscate it. That's why, just like Venezuela a few years ago, we're going to confiscate the gold, be patriotic, the same MO that most countries use against their citizens. That's why it's an asset, because it's not controlled, it's held. Just like your crypto better be in your own wallet. Same thing. It better not be sitting on a centralized exchange. Better not be somewhere else. By the way, JP Morgan and another bank are trying to be crypto custody holders. You better not put your money in no freaking custody holders, ladies and gentlemen. You better not even do that. You better be keeping it on you. Your wallet, your stuff. Do not do that. All right? Please. That's why it makes it a top asset, because it's an individual choice and nobody knows how much you have of it. It's simple, and it's based on inflation. However much inflation is, that's how much gold and silver rises until they used derivatives to so people would buy mining stocks, so people would buy ETFs instead of buying the actual physical. Because if people were actually buying the physical and none of them other things, then gold and silver would have already reached its real price. And again, I wish I could. I'm going to go look up my video because I actually made a video about this 5 years ago. I'll see if I can find it, because the thing is, I wish I could remember the number. I went from 1980 only. Why 1980? Because in 1979 there were some brothers that was buying up gold, I mean not gold, silver, all the amount they can get their hands on. And it went I can't even remember right now, but I think it went up. I'm going to go look it up. But it went up to not like 1975, and they were almost like hedge fund guys, and they actually got people, VC guys, they got them together and said, we're going to buy silver, you guys going to help us, it's going to rise. Well, in 1979, I think it was 79, it shot up finally. After 4 years, these guys just been hoarding silver, but because the United States government, they just do whatever they can to stop the price from going up, it all of a sudden peaked. I can't remember. You know what? I'm going to do this. What was the name of the brothers? Brothers. Hoarding. Oh, and there was a lawsuit, by the way. Let's go. I'm just going to look it up, and so I can give you guys the accurate stuff. Hunt Brothers. There you go. The brothers hoarding silver in 1970s were the Hunt brothers. You know, the Kansas City Chiefs, Hunts. That's them. All right. Nelson Bunker, William Herbert, and Lamar, wealthy Texas oil heirs who amass vast quantities of physical silver and futures contracts to hedge against inflation. You know why? Because inflation was running rampant after Nixon did what he did. And in the late 70s, or starting in the mid 70s, mortgages were 10%, 12%. It was crazy. Caused the market to collapse in the infamous Silver Thursday event. Can you believe that? They're buying up all of it, ladies and gentlemen, as much as they can get their hands on. The price did not move. The gold, the contracts, these dudes was going for it. And then all of a sudden, 1979, it goes through the roof. Through the roof. Let me see if I can find it. I wish I can find the actual number. I think it was $70. Now, there's the link, ladies and gentlemen. I get a kick out of talking about this because it's so awesome. Because gold, silver, precious metals is exactly why I have my reasons. Because once you understand, when that price went from like $5, $6 that they were buying it at, or less, and it went up to 50. And these dudes are holding futures contracts, holding gold, I mean, silver, and all of a sudden it goes up to $50. There ain't nothing they can do, but the government's like, hold on, hold on. You know why they're saying hold on? Because ever since 1930s up until 1970-ish, gold and silver was being restricted. People were still stacking it though. So all those people got to ride the wave. So when they were buying their gold and silver for $2, $3, $1.20, imagine it being $50. And they know a hell of a lot of people were getting rich besides the Hunts brothers. And all of a sudden they're like, hold on, Tamara Larry, welcome to the SSN Nation Money Making Monday live stream, the Gold and Silver Stacker Edition. And she brings her tagline, hello all. Okay, in fact, you know what? You guys go, I put a link in the chat room. Go check it out. I was talking about the CoinX, right, for trading. Now let's get down to the other business at hand. I put the Investopia in there so you guys can get somewhat of a history, and it's very fascinating. This is why people keep gold and silver personally, physically, and don't want to buy like an ETF or a mining company or anything like that, because there's always going to be a squeeze. Because remember, in the 70s, it was an oil crisis that caused everything to go out of whack. Now we have a tariff wars, which caused everything. Hundreds of millions of dollars are going into each one, and that causes a problem that can't be controlled. It can't control the market as much because now other countries are spending billions of dollars, and it turns out to be trillions to buy. And so now we're what I would call check. If you start really looking at it as a strategic situation, I would call that, and we're playing chess, it's check. Because if you actually lose, if America keep doing the way it's going, it's a check. Because if America's currency does do hyperinflation, that means gold. And in fact, they're going to get closer to their real value. But back to the situation at hand about the value, because I wish I could remember the value, because I actually did a thing on it. And it's something crazy. Like silver should probably be like, if I use 6, 7, 800, but in my mind, it seems like I think it was like over 1,000 an ounce. And gold and silver, I mean, gold was something like 64 or $70,000 an ounce. That's how much inflation has happened over the last 40, 41 years. It's insane. And that's why you could buy a house in 1978 in most of America for under $15,000, to give you guys an idea. So everything is right here for you to see. Just go back and look at history. Right now, my aunt's house, San Jose, I believe she bought it for, oh, I can't remember the number. I think it was 40 grand, something like that, in the 70s. That same house is worth like 1.5. That's Bay Area though. But the fact of the matter is, that's crazy. That's over like 40 years. That's crazy. That just tells you how out of whack things are. And they've been holding gold, silver, and precious metals down the entire time because citizens have melted down silver, melted down gold. lives. So you have to understand who your enemy is. And it's definitely worthless. I trust the U.S. economy. Why do you say it's worthless? Again, you're not making sense. It's not worthless. So if it's just an investment, if you 5 years ago you bought gold at let's say I think it was around 1,200. 5 years ago, 1,200, and then you bought silver at probably $12 or $13. I don't know exactly, but it's around that. So you would have bought stocks in 2020. And if your stocks went from $13 to $85, I think you would be happy, would you not? I think you would. If you would have bought $1,200 worth of Apple, Tesla, Google, I think you're going to be happy 5 years later that it's worth 4,500, right? I mean, it's the same thing. No difference. You're not getting any dividends. You're not getting anything for holding those stocks. So same thing. Appreciation is what you're getting. The value of money is going down, so the gold and silver prices go up to offset it. And they're worth a lot more. So there's a long way to go. A long way to go. But I don't know what you mean by worthless. Sabak the Midget, welcome to the SSN Nation Money Making Monday live stream. And he brings exactly as a tagline, but I don't know what he means. If he means it's worthless, it's not worthless. Lots of love can get way higher returns elsewhere. And their one whole cash and gold for high returns is to preserve capital. What do you exactly? You put your worthless dollars into gold, into silver, the value stays the same purchase price, so you don't lose the money by holding the duffel bag of cash. I think that's worth something on all levels. And I just proved that Warren Buffett bought 21 million shares worth of Barrick Gold. That 21 million shares of Barrick Gold would be worth billions. Just saying. Not only hundreds of millions, billions. So if you call that preserving capital, okay. But I think he would have liked the 173 billion instead of selling his 21 million shares for whatever it was, 1 billion or something. That would have made him another legend on top of his already legendary status. If he would have said, yeah, man, I bought this for a few hundred million and I got 173 billion now. I think that would have been. So if you call that preserving capital, so be it. You can call it whatever term you want. I call that being prudent by having some. So if you call that worthless, I'll take it. I don't see how it's worthless. All right. Okay. Let's go. 1 billion. Okay. I like that. I like that. All right. You should really listen to Berkshire annual meetings and read their newsletters. No, I shouldn't. No, I'm only messing with you. Again, I like that you do that. Everybody should get into financials, financial literacy, and all that. And no, I don't hold any. I never held any Berkshire. I wish I did back in the day. I've never held Berkshire stocks at all. But uh, yeah, I've. In fact, it's funny. I have listened to some of their annual meeting calls. Remember, we get when you guys make investments, you get earnings calls, you get meetings calls. Um, when you have a brokerage account, you usually get a listing. They send it to you. They say, "Hey, this company's doing," even if you don't even have stocks in that company. So, laughing my Brooks got a lot of problems. Hey, man, I'm going to say this again. There are a lot of conflicts within, especially between India and China. Let me ask you something. How many conflicts is America in? You've heard of Iran, you heard of Syria, you heard of uh, Iraq, you've heard of Nigeria, just to name a few. Now we have Venezuela. We have Cold Wars with North Korea, China, and I don't know what's going on with Russia. We're acting like we're their friends now. That's crazy. Um, we have other things going on in South Pacific. We have stuff going on in Africa besides Nigeria. We have other stuff going on in the Middle East. So I don't understand what you're saying right now. The BRICS are simple. I told you, BRICS is not really a threat currency wise. They only have between what did it come up to? 6.5% or something like that. But between them, they only have 6.5 or something like that. All they have over 30 countries in there, and they only control 6.5% of the currency or something. United States has 54% of the currency in the world. Their currency, the US dollar. The problem, I'm going to keep saying this, it's very simple. They have more than half the world's population. You, that is power, regardless of their internal fighting. It does not matter. We fight with allies right now. We're talking about taking over Greenland right now. NATO pops up and says, "Oh, hold up." And the NATO nations go, "Hold up, man. You're talking crazy." Those are conflicts. Those are conflicts because somebody says, "I'm coming to take your house." You don't sit there and be like, "Oh, yeah, that's no big deal." You're thinking, "What's this dude talking about right now? What are they doing?" You're thinking, "I better check out this threat, see what they're talking. Can they? How can this happen? What's going on?" And then somebody says, "We're going to take it regardless." Now, what are you going to do? You're going to man up or be a snowflake? I mean, you're going to get weapons and get some people and get your own little team together and be like, "Hey, man, you ain't taking nothing." That's a conflict, right? So that's what happened. NATO said, "Hey, man, no, man, what's happening?" Denmark said, "Hey, guys, what's this dude talking about? You guys got my back or what?" Same thing. So conflicts is one thing, but controlling more than half of the world's population, you might want to think about it. And controlling rare earths, controlling chip manufacturing potentially, which I'm sure is going to be next level. 84% on the island of Taiwan, which China for I don't even know how long has said that's us, which it's not, but okay, that's their thing. America going to go against China after what they did with Venezuela. So when China goes in and tries to take the Taiwanese government officials out, America's going to go, "Oh, you shouldn't do that." Now what? So anyhow, this conflict is ridiculous conversation. The U.S. is in all kind of conflicts. That's crazy. All I can tell you is here's the warning: rare earth minerals controlled by a lot of these countries in BRICS. Oil controlled by a lot of these countries in BRICS. And by the way, you know who else the S stands for in BRICS? Saudi Arabia, which the US dollar is supposedly allegedly backed by. So these guys are talking about, we'll accept somebody else's currency now on the gold. I mean, on the oil that you guys buy. Do you not understand what's going to happen when they turn that off? If they turned it off, they won't turn it off. It's a sketchy thing. The only reason they're not going to turn it off because the United States has bases there and they protect their oil fields just like the whole region. They have us taxpayers to pay for this. But what happens if all these guys go, "We don't want to deal with, we're BRICS, this is our stuff, and we're going to give our currency is what you need for the oil in Iraq." Just saying. Oil in Syria, oil in Kuwait, oil in Saudi Arabia. We don't need you no more. In fact, we're against you. Russia, China, they got their back because they're in BRICS. What is the EU? Really? Just saying. And the EU is in their territory. So do you really think that if BRICS starts control, if they tried to take control, what do you think the EU is going to do? They have the euro. They're not beholden to the US with their US currency that's devalued every day. They're liable to be like, why do we got to fight with these guys? They have all the assets. What does US have that we can't get anywhere else in the world? Don't have really chip manufacturing, don't really have rare earth minerals, and they're calling us up for manufacturing. Again, don't dismiss the brick situation. Do not. I would not. I don't. But all I can tell you is I don't really care. The fact of the matter is I don't want my stuff inside the United States. So therefore, that's why I said get your debit card, ladies and gentlemen, the crypto Visa debit card. And oh, by the way, since we're talking about crypto, I do say you should have a little bit of crypto in your own wallet. Do not do any custody with any of these banks, with any of these newfangled. In fact, there's a new IPO coming out next Monday. They're going to do crypto custody. I'm like, man, come on, stop it. American citizens, do not fall for this. You better have your own wallet and keep it in your own wallet. You don't need to be putting any electronic stuff in somebody else's hands that they can't, where you can't get it out. That is just ridiculous, to say the least. So the Bancus card out of Mexico City, and they do have a Zoom calls Tuesday and Thursday, 2 p.m. and 8 p.m. Eastern. So here it is in chat. It's down below in the description box. Make sure you use my link, please, because yes, there is a money-making opportunity when you refer people and somebody buys the card. Yes, you do make a little bit of money. I don't have the card yet. Hopefully on Wednesday I'll have it. It should be here because I ordered it December 14th. And now it's the 12th. It didn't come on Friday or Saturday. So I'm hoping 14th is Wednesday. It's Christmas, and again, I don't know the status of, shipping stuff over Christmas. But that could make a 3-4 day delay. It took 2 to 3 weeks for most people, so hopefully it'll come by the 14th. But anyhow, I would take BRICS a little more serious because all it takes is for EU and everybody to say we're using BRICS. Just we're going to use their currency. That's all it takes. But the US is going to retaliate. They're going to go, well, then you need to get your banks out of our country. We're not down with this. And then that's not going to work either because it's chess, right? So even if you try that ploy that you've been employing the whole last 100 years, one of the countries is going to go, we knew you were going to do this. Obviously, that's your only play. And they're going to go, we already been hooking up our own systems. We don't need you guys. And by the way, the United States has their own system of doing things. When I'm in DR, for instance, right this second, if another person gives me their cedula, their ID number, and their bank account number, I could send them money in 1 minute. If I'm in the EU, I can send somebody money in 1 minute. I don't have to go through this Zelle nonsense. I don't have to do none of this crap. So again, what we do here is different than around the world. So again, United States does not control the whole world, and they have their own systems already in place. The US can't stop. And again, that's why I always say you better have something outside the US, a bank account outside the US for sure. The Bancus crypto Visa card is basically just a debit card. It's $35 for the plastic card. That's the one I ordered because it has the tap feature. Plus, I don't need a metal card. So the metal card is $85 shipped. The prices are going to go up, by the way. I don't know when. But the fact of the matter is, if you're going to order a card, I would suggest you order it sooner than later. Use my link in the chat room and down below in the description box. And you send crypto to the card. They do charge a fee I don't really like. It's 4%. But I say As long again, I'll pay the price because I don't want to be in the US system. The writing is pretty much on the wall, and you got to get your credit right. You got to get everything right by December 31st. That is the rule. Why? 0% interest for 36 months is where we're going. People are running out of credit. So those that have better credit or the best credit will be getting the best terms. 0% for 36 months. I think you should take advantage of that if you can, but you're going to need a high credit score. 775 is what we're shooting for because I'm pretty sure 750 will do it too. But I want you guys, just in case they do something crazy and they go, oh, 0% for 4 years. I don't think that'll happen. But if something crazy comes up, you need to take advantage. That's why if you need debt resolution, debt consolidation, anything like that, you need to make sure you get on that train, which I'm going to leave a link in the chat room. And it's also down below in the description box. But the Bancus card, you send crypto to it, which is, again, I had a conversation with people and they go, well, okay, is it safe? And I'm like, United States banks have stolen from me before and other people. What do you mean? Is it safe? I mean, what are we talking about here? All right. Had my brokerage account locked for 2 years because of another bank sold their checking and savings, but they held up the brokerage account. 2 years. Is it safe? I've had the government steal stuff outright, just like what you see ICE doing, stealing stuff, not that type of stuff. What they're do is they try to do lawsuits. They try to get you hemmed up in courts. And then ultimately they try to finagle. And then ultimately they just go, you know what? We have the stuff in our name anyhow. We'll just take it. They do this. All right. When you have loans, when you have stuff with the federal government, we'll just take it. Just like a mortgage company, when they say, oh, we're selling our paper. So they sell your paper, your mortgage, you get something in the mail that says, oh, yeah, we're the new people that have your mortgage. So start sending your mortgage payment to this company or this bank, this mortgage company. Next thing you know, they say, oh, yeah, well, we have fees. You're like, what? What kind of fees? They try to do anything. In my case, the mortgage company calls me and says, oh, yeah, you want to do that loan modification thing? Well, we were going to do it. That's why we sent you the papers. That's why you sent stuff in and we agreed, but we changed our mind. We're going to do a short sale. I'm like, oh, goody. Great. Where do I sign up for that? Oh, no, not to you. We're calling your note due, but we're going to do a short sale. I told this story before. This is real life in America. I'm like, what are you talking about right now? They're like, oh, but we're going to give you some money so you can move away. But we're doing a short sale to somebody else. I'm like, wait, a short sale for $40,000 less? Wait, why don't you just give me that number for my new modification on my loan? Oh, no. Can't do that. Yeah, that was a very interesting conversation in 2008 or 9. And when the people came up, I've told this story before, I was curious. So the last day we're moving out is the first day they're coming. So I asked the people, I'm thinking, I thinking they bought it, right? Like they bought the short sale. So they get there and they started talking about, oh yeah, this is what we do. I'm like, what do you mean? What do you do? They go, oh yeah, we're friends with the banks, and every 2 years we move and we come over here and then we do a little rehab and then we have a deal where we get to sell the house and we get part of the profits. I was like, what did you just say right now? Family of 4. I couldn't believe the words coming out of their mouth. I said, are you joking right now? They go, yeah, man, we didn't pick this house. This is what our agreement is. I wish I could remember the day. I think it was Aquin, by the way. I wonder if it was. I had Aquin at the time. It's at Tander because they were moving mortgage companies around. It might have been Aquin. I should go get some paperwork so then I can rightfully place it where it is. And in fact, oh, I can't. Doggone it. I was going to bring receipts. I have paperwork for everything because people don't believe this. I tell my friends this stuff and they'd be looking at me like, and I'd be like, this is why I kept everything since the 80s because people wouldn't believe stuff that happens. They're like, I go, you don't know where you live, do you? You don't know what goes on in America, do you? They're like, nah, man, this stuff doesn't happen. I'm like, what? Here. What do you think this? Does this look like loan modification papers that's approved? Yeah. Well, then how did your house get sold and sold to somebody else? Because of this next paper. Short selling, told me they're going to do it. And then the people, I talked to them. And I don't have paperwork on that, but I talked to them and that's what they told me. We do this. We move every 2 years. So you guys can imagine the shock when somebody said, this is what we do with the bank or whoever they said, and we're going to move in 2 years and sell the house and we split the profit. By design, ladies and gentlemen. All right. So when people start talking this crazy stuff to me, I'm just like, no, no, and no. You need to protect yourself out here. There's too many things. You're up and coming superstars. The government has something in for you. They try to do all kind of crazy. EV Place, another investor's in the house. He does it. He makes investments. He has his own business. He does real estate. He has the offshore banking, the offshore real estate, just like post-retirement travel has the icon next to his name. And welcome to the SSN Nation Money Making Monday live stream. And he brings his tagline, good evening. I hope you are all doing well. I bought a few ounces of AU at 1,300 to 1,400 in 2018. There it is, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so hold on. I like he says that. Let me go check something real quick. 2019 gold prices. Let's see. Okay, so no, it was 12. If I'm not mistaken, it was 1250 or like that. Oh, 1280. I just pulled it up. Gold prices saw a significant rise starting around 1280 an ounce in 2019 and climbing to over 1,500 an ounce by year end. There you go. It was 1280, they say. So there you go. It was in the 12s in 2019. But either way, you're doing awfully well now, which is the point. That's the whole reason you're holding it is because the price of gold, silver, precious metals, they're out of they should have. Yeah, the average price for the year was 1392 in 2018. Oh no, a 10% increase from 2018. So that was the average price for the year in 2019, 1392, but you could have gotten it as low as 1280. So the average came up to 1392, which is what happened because at the end of the year, like I said, I believe that's the silver stacker challenge. And only one person did it, and it was 10 ounces, and I paid $135 for 10 ounces from Atmax, all in, shipping and everything. So that means the price was actually a little lower because they generally charge their premium on top. So it might have been, the real price might have been 13. I mean, yeah, 13, something like that in reality, free shipping and everything. So they got 10 ounces, and now that 10 ounces for, like I said, $135 is $850. 135 in 5 years because it was January when the Silver Stacker Challenge was over. So that's probably 2019, 2020. So there you go. That's gold though. Gold was 1280 to start the year. And so that makes sense because whatever happened, remember 2019, that's after 2017, 2018, same tariffs, same activity that we have going on now, except we didn't have Gestapo running in the streets. But we still had the same tariff wars. We still had the same printing of money. We still had the same 23% of our deficit increased. United States currency going in the toilet, so the same things happen. Does this not sound familiar? History repeats itself. When you see the same things, you already know what's going to happen. So congratulations, silver stackers. You guys did a great job. Okay. Since the inception of gold and the inception of Tesla, which one returned more? I don't know. A very small portion I can see in gold, but not more than maybe 5%. MDA 0214, gold and silver is not the same as a stock for Tesla. Stock for Tesla is manipulated. Gold and silver does not get subsidies. Gold and silver does not get government contracts to hop up your prices. Gold and silver, you can't rebuy your shares of stock to increase the value of stocks. Gold and silver, you cannot chop it up into 7 to 10 pieces and split it whenever you want and then charge more money because it goes by the ounce. That's inflationary. Stocks are inflationary. There's no rhyme or reason other than you say, I check the financials. But if somebody believes in it, like what Tesla is, then people buy the stocks regardless. The value keeps rising because people are willing to pay more. Gold and silver rises the same way, people are willing to pay more. But stocks are not gold. And stocks can also go to zero. Gold will not go to zero. Right? Tesla will not go to zero. Nvidia won't go to zero. Apple won't go to zero. Amazon won't go to zero. Nvidia won't go to zero. Meta won't go to zero. Google won't go to zero. Oracle won't go to zero. They're government protected. It's not the same as gold and silver and precious metals. They don't operate on the stock market other than to make sure you don't buy gold and silver physical. That's how they manipulate the price. Just saying. Stocks are not comparable. It's a store of value. Right now, though, I think most people would be happy. Tesla was like, Jesus, in the early 2000s, I think it was $5 a share or something, just like Apple and all the rest. So, needless to say, there's no comparison for stock prices, which, by the way, is based on people feeling of value because they're a corporation. They have products to sell based on financials, based on what's coming out, robotics, like in the case of Tesla in 2016. Musk is saying, I'm going to have robots in 3 years. Stock price goes up. I'm going to have auto cars in 3 years. Price goes up. I'm going to come out with a car under $30,000 in 5 years. Price goes up. Then you have hedge funds buying their shares to increase their price. So again, gold is not the same. You can only buy Tesla. There's no offshoot. You can't go, oh, yeah, you know what? I'm going to make a derivative. I'm going to have a Tesla stock because I'm buying it like I'm digging it up, right? So I'm going to go to the mining Tesla stock. I'm going to buy that instead of buying Tesla. That ain't going to happen. The only derivatives you have with Tesla is like Yieldmax ETFs or some other ETF. But is that really a derivative? It's not. It is. But what I'm trying to say is when an ETF, when Tesla was put into the whatever they're on, S&P 500 or whatever index they're on, when they were put in, who's ever on those, the ETFs buy them up. BlackRock and all these guys, they buy more shares. Price goes up. Gold, you cannot. Physical gold, you can't buy it up. And unless you're going to store it somewhere, that's the difference. You don't have to store Tesla stock or anybody's stock. But you do have to store gold, silver, and dig it up. And other precious metals. It's not even the same thing. It's not there for increasing value. It's there for situations like this. Because if you lose world currency, then the dollars and the stocks are worthless. The gold is going to be, and silver and precious metals are going to be at a higher value, equating to the real inflation numbers, which helps. All right. Hopefully that explains it a little bit more. If you think XRP will rise, get some XRMP from Amplify, 3% dividend monthly. So far, I got my first payout at the end of December. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you got your first pen, pad, and paper. Go check it out. Okay, let's go. A lot of countries also take part in the U.S. stock. A lot. United States stock market is and was a safe haven. It's number one. So that's why they're buying treasuries. That's why they pour money into the stocks, because the stocks go up crazy. In 20 years, all you have to do is just look at the Magnificent Seven, what their stock prices was 20 years ago and what they are today. This makes perfectly good sense why somebody would buy stocks. They're paper, they're fake, they're not real. It's only the value is based on perception that something's going to happen or financials and returns. Gold doesn't give you financials or returns. It's a whole separate ballgame. So just so you understand. And now this is why countries are taking their money out of the United States in the form of treasuries and stocks, and they're buying gold, silver, and precious metals. The pendulum is starting to change because they're going, what are these guys over here doing? They already over 42 trillion in a deficit, and they owe 1 trillion a year in interest only. We're afraid they might not be able to pay us and default. Just saying. And America has to print money for everything. That little debacle or that little nonsense in Venezuela kidnapping a leader, that costs taxpayers money. We don't have money. So however many millions of dollars, tack it on to the deficit. And taxpayers and grandkids of taxpayers are going to have to somehow pay this back. And don't even get started with that crypto nonsense, like you're going to change stable coins into somehow $40 trillion and then somehow wipe it clear. You do some crazy stuff like that, you better be holding some gold and silver, because the stock market is going to be worthless and the gold and silver is going to be worth 10 times what it is right now. All I'm saying, it's that's how it works. That's how it works. EV plays, Tesla stocks plus 17% in 1 year, gold plus 70% in 1 year. Yeah, it's all based on everything moves. So if something happens to the US stock market where all of a sudden these countries start taking their money out like they're already doing and taking their monies out of treasuries, and the stock market for the Magnificent Seven start going down, which is going to be inevitable. All right. It's going to be inevitable because what after AI? Because remember, they're each buying from each other and boosting each other's stocks up and getting an inflow from retail and private investors, right? What happens when they stop doing that? After AI comes out and now the revenues aren't trillions of dollars, but it's only billions every year. Nobody's going to be spending trillions of dollars anymore once that occurs. So then what? And people aren't going to have jobs either. Just saying. So just keep that up. Keep in mind of that. Danny Swelsdorf. That's the best I can do. Danny Swelsdorf. That's the best I can do. Welcome to the SSN Nation Money Making Monday live stream. I love this conversation. Any feasible BRICS currency is a decade away. I do agree. Not something you just throw together, especially when the countries don't really trust each other. I agree with you 110%. But see, here's the problem with the thinking that is 10 years away. It's only 10 years away because there's no sense of urgency. If all of a sudden the United States keeps doing this rogue stuff and it's a year from now and 2 years from now and they go, we can't take this no more, you best believe all of a sudden you don't know what's going to happen. These guys will be like, hold up, man, let's just get together. Who's ever with us, who is not, you're out, whatever. They would speed up the process. They're not going to sit back and expect, listen, I'm going to give you guys some other scenarios likely to happen because Venezuela had their money in the UK. They didn't get their money back. Iran had their money in the United States. They didn't get their money back when they did the hostages in 1980. We froze all their assets. They didn't get their money back until Obama. Over 30 years being held, right? So you don't understand. There's countries that have money in America sitting there, whether it's gold, whether it's silver, precious metals, whether it's at a bank. US has stolen other countries' money or held it. So when you say it's 10 years away, we don't know what's 10 years away or 5 years away or tomorrow, because all it takes is some event where everybody agrees, wait, we better work together. That's all it takes, right? Enemy of my enemy is my friend. That's all it takes, especially when they say we have the power, right? That's the thing. They're going to go, the one thing they don't have the power, well, they kind of do, I guess, is the military situation. US has the best military ever, but taxpayers, congratulations. But now, does America really want to deal with Russia and China? Just those two by themselves. Do you really want to deal with them teamed up? And then, do you really want to deal with the Middle East, who says, you know what, we're not going to use your dollars anymore to transact on oil. We're going to use our BRICS currency. So now you got to use our currency if you want oil from us. All of a sudden, this stuff changes up real fast. Now, you might disagree with that, but look, enemy of my enemy works real well, right? That works real well on a global stage. Just think about it. Bars and coins are always more expensive than spot gold. This is true. Very, very true. Universum, welcome to the SSN Nation Money Making Monday live stream. And he brings his tagline: silver has been manipulated. It's starting to break the chains of it, manipulators. And we have China to thank for contributing to that. You got that exactly right. The BRICS nations. In fact, oh man, I got to make the video on this. I showed it on Friday when I had the U.S. Treasuries. They're selling the U.S. Treasuries and the gold, and they've crossing. They're buying more gold instead of buying treasuries. There's a cross. It's just now happening. Other countries, they're not buying USA treasuries. They're not believing in the stock market no more because it is overvalued. Even the Warren Buffett meter shows highly overvalued. And it is true. These things are overvalued. They don't even have a revenue to make sense. It's ridiculous. The AI it's ridiculous spending trillions of dollars to make a few hundred billion. That's crazy right now. Again, $1 trillion is 1,000 stacks of $1 billion. So if you're spending $6 trillion and somebody says, I'm getting back even 700 billion in profits, you're going to be like, why did you spend $6 trillion? What are you doing? What type of money management is this? And then you say, oh, yeah, it's worth 30x. You'd be like, have you lost your freaking mind right now? You spent 6 trillion to make 700. You'd be like, have you lost your mind, man? That's insane. 700 billion. So we got 6 trillion, 6,000 billions of dollars, and you bring me back 700 billion. I'm sorry. Revenue, not profit. Revenue. Come on. That's not going to work well. This is why corporations stop doing EV vehicles. Because the cost of production and manufacturing outweighs the sales. Spending billions of dollars to get a few $100 million worth of sales. No, that doesn't work well. And here we are dealing with AI talking about spending trillions of dollars and getting a few hundred billions in revenue. Never mind, they won't even give the profit numbers. That's insane. So again, we have China to thank for it. And we have a few other countries as well, because they're jumping out of the treasuries and just going straight to the gold and silver. And it's going down universal. Okay, Rick, Q1W4C, welcome to the SSN Nation Money Making Monday live stream, gold, silver, and stacker edition. And he says many states looking to gold, silver as currency. Oh, by the way, man, ladies and gentlemen, you guys need to understand your constitution a little better. Silver is the currency. That's what's supposed to be the currency. Just saying. Just saying. Just saying. Because you do understand, in order to get silver, you would have to mine it and get it out, produce it. That creates a value in itself, production. And that was supposed to be your currency. Just saying. All right. I'm wondering if Venezuela will get back their 40 tons of gold from Great Britain storage. No. No time soon. I thought they got it back by now, but no, it's not coming. They've been waiting 3-4 years. Not happening. If they didn't get it already, it's not coming back. 40 tons, ladies and gentlemen. Now, those 40 tons at the new price, woo-hoo-hoo. My God. My God. Let me see what that is. Why don't we just go? I don't even know how to calculate that. 40 tons of gold worth what today? Somebody's going to have to tell me this number, because I'm pretty sure 40 metric tons is worth over. Wait, it says $2,400 an ounce. It says 1.3 billion. I don't know why that's saying 1.3 billion though. Did I do 40 tons of gold? Okay, hold on. This can't be right. 40 tons of gold is how many ounces? Let's do it that way. Why don't we go this way? 1.411 E plus 6. Oh, that's cute. Okay. That's cute. I knew it was going to be something crazy. Okay. So let me see if I can get Google to give me a number, because this number is going to be insane. I'm not going to have enough zeros. All right. I'm pretty sure. Let me go look. Times. What are we at? 4,500 equals. I don't want grams. Okay. What is this number right here? This is a number. It looks like 600. Well, it might be a trillion. Here's the number. That's what I can only somewhat come up with. Okay. I use Tesla, but you can say that about most top stocks. They blow gold out the water. Yeah, they always do. Because gold is not an investment for an appreciation or a stock market increase price based on financials. It's based on if your currency goes bye-bye or currency is devalued, then you have the value based on gold, silver, and silver stacking. We don't even know if Fort Knox is full or empty. Exactly. The world is saying it's not full. That's what the world is saying. Block this, YouTube. Welcome to the SSN Nation Money Making Monday live stream, the gold and silver stacker edition. He says, I'm guessing the silver bullion ban is coming in the next few months. I'm going to tell you this right now. If this thing continues to rise, if all of a sudden it's 85, then it's 95, which it very well could be. If it keeps doing this, there will be some sort of stoppage or something, because that means all you guys who've been stacking over the years, you guys could become wealthy, because there's people that's been stacking for 40 years, 30 years, 20 years. There's people that simply could have only been stacking for 20 years in 2001. Check this out, ladies and gentlemen. Does anybody know what silver was in 2001? You know it was under $4, right? I believe. 2001 silver price. Let's see what it is. Yep, not under. I was close. It was $4.37 to $4.39. There's people that have some silver and they spend a few $100. Just saying. And about now, they're sitting there going, man, that's 20x whatever they had. So if they spend $1,000, some people would say 20 G's. Okay, cool. But it could continue to rise. Just saying. All right. Not bad, I don't think, at this point, and it could rise even higher. All right. Enough. Enough about that. We're going to move on. Also, gold is up 70%. Yep, but the next 10 years, it may go up 5%. Yes, it's not based on stocks. There's no financials you can give it. There's no manipulation of the market. Stocks are manipulated. So unless they're going to ban stock buybacks, unless they're going to stop giving companies subsidies and government contracts, and they have to do it on their own like a normal business, then their prices probably would not go up. All right, let's just call it what it is. Governments around the world are now buying gold and silver and precious metals because the United States is, like I said, rogue nation. So it's very, very smart. And I would not be surprised if there is some sort of a squeeze that comes up sooner or later because there's only so much that people are holding and willing to sell. And in fact, a lot of people are probably not willing to sell at this point. You might be right, but I don't have a crystal ball. Gold bars are more for diversity. Yes. Exactly right. That's what it is. Exactly. I got 72 ounces of silver at 67. I'm up. And the truth trill 777. Welcome to the SSN Nation Money Making Monday. And I appreciate that. Exactly. See, this is what I'm saying. Nobody, if you think 67 is the number or 84 is the number, here's what's going to generally happen. Just what, who was that said something? I'm guessing the silver bullion ban is coming in the next few months. Block this YouTube. Yeah, that right there. That would be very, very interesting. Very interesting. It would not even be a shocker because this has already happened in 1979-80. I put the Investopedia in the chat. The Hunt brothers, they actually stopped stuff from happening. The government intervened. This is the same thing now. What's the value of $50? So that means we probably got to get up to, I don't even know what, 400 or something, 300. Value of $50 today. Oh, sorry. From 1979 in today's money. Let's go see. So $50. So we need it to go to $223. That's what the value is of $50. So if it gets to 223, so once again, you can see now what could happen. But do not be confused, ladies and gentlemen. The government will intervene if something crazy happens, which also means we might find out the top. We might find out something here. This got to be junk silver. That's very interesting. Welcome, Alpha Romeo, to the SSN Nation Money Making Monday live stream. I want to hear your thoughts on this. Junk silver is the way. Junk silver is a lot cheaper. But now what happens when the values go up? What are you going to do with it? Because I have some junk silver, by the way, which is pretty cool. 40 tons is 40,000 kilos of gold. Yeah. Well, whatever that number is what it comes out to that England is holding. So let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So wait, 1, 6. That means we got a mil. So that'd be 9.5. 7, 8, 9. So that's 6 billion. That's what it looks like. I think that's 6,349,000,500. No, that might be 63 billion. That might be 63 billion. Hold on a second. Let me go see. What is that? Let me go see if I can put this in. 63 billion? That's not nothing to sneeze at. Or is it 6 billion? Let's go look. It's got to be. Let's go. Um, what's going on? It's not telling me. That's interesting. Why not? What is this number in dollars? Not saying that. Okay, I'm going to do it a different way then. Let me go look myself. Hold on. I'll just put the commas in. Yeah, 63,495,000,000. That's what they're holding. That's interesting. That's a lot of money. It's 85 now. Yeah, 184 billion. It's hitting 80. Yeah, it's going to keep going up, truth to Terrell. This is why I wanted to have a discussion today. People will think it's going to go down, but it's not. Countries, because of what Trump is doing, like when you say Greenland and all the countries are like, what the hell's going on? And then when you start saying I'm taking over Venezuela and all this stuff, destabilizing the planet, and then says whoever deals with Iran, I'm going to do a 25% tariff on you. The other countries are like, well, then I'm just going to sell the treasuries, sell our stocks, and then we're just going to go buy gold and silver, which creates a short squeeze. And that's why the prices, I believe, would still go up. I don't even think they're going to stop. And if you're doing stock market trading, you should be paying attention, taking advantage of these uptrends and downtrends. You could be making money in both directions. Alfa Romeo, 58K in silver is 2001, 1 million today, nuts. And I'm guessing 150 to 200 plus before long. Yeah, if to get up to the 1979 number with the Hunt brothers, it would be $223. And that's when the intervention from the government happened again. So that's how it goes. Underlined twice. Oh my, is that a donation? I don't believe it. I humbly appreciate any donation. Thank you so much for that. 100 underlined twice. Exactly, man. It's off this charts. Hello, Discourse International. Welcome to the SSN Nation Money Making Monday live stream, talking about gold and silver stacking today and the wealth boom. You got to be in it, whether it's stocks, just like MDA 0214 is talking about stocks. There's going to be a boom in stocks as well. Just because they're sucking money out does not mean anything, because there's plenty of people that still want to buy the Magnificent Seven and keep it going. And ETFs are still saying we're still with you because they believe robo-taxis, robots, AI is the future. And they are hella right. Who's going to get there first is the question. And how many jobs are there going to be after the carnage of no jobs because of replacements? War nickels, okay, like that. Like that. Pure silver, like it. I think ban, then revaluation. Block this YouTube. Yes, we've seen that before. I agree with you 110%. That's what they do. That's exactly what that's how you stop momentum. Just like right now when when China said, oh, we're going to ban crypto. What happened with crypto? It went down, right? Same rules apply here. If somebody says we're going to ban gold from our citizens or we're going to confiscate it, same thing. That's how you stop the momentum. Because now people are going to hold it. Hardly anybody's going to sell it and hide it. And that obviously is just like a stock. If somebody just held it and they don't sell it, stock price goes down because nobody's buying. Or it can create another squeeze to go up because now anybody that does sell it, they can ask whatever they want. It works kind of both ways, which they don't want either way. They don't want to be able to say we ban it and all of a sudden somebody's going to sell silver for $500 an ounce. They're going to be like, hell no, find that guy, get his stuff. You're not going to be able to tell anybody. It's, let's see, we got more. It's to prepare for currency collapse, not to flip back to a dealer for fiat. Exactly. Discourse International. There you go. That sums it up exactly right. That's exactly right. It's exactly right. A currency collapse is inevitable. If anything you need to hand down to your children and grandchildren is to let them know in history, every currency goes to zero. Every one. Okay? This is why EU, all those countries had their own currency. They had to get together. BRICS, all those countries have currencies. They're talking about getting together. Same rules apply. The United States, when they're no longer world currency, I don't know when that will be, then their currency is going to be dictated based on whoever has world currency. And they could go, well, you know, you owe $50 trillion. Your currency is 25 to 1. That changes the whole landscape. Now, again, this is like crazy talk only because once you understand the banking system, what the United States has put in place, it's very hard for somebody to replace it. But is it when you can use crypto to send money? Just saying. Seriously, not that hard. The only way then is your country would be like, we're the energy grid. We're going to block them from sending crypto. We don't want them to be able to use other currency. I can see it happening. It's just funny. But very well said, Discourse International. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. We're not going to be selling the crypto for fiat. I mean, the gold for fiat or silver for fiat because the currency is worthless. So it's going to whoever the number one currency is, or quote unquote stable coin, wherever you're going to get that money that you need to use, that's what you're going to go get it from, right? With whoever has the world currency, basically. If the yuan's the world currency, then that's what you're going to be going to get, right? You're not going to be getting some worthless dollars that you can kick in the streets like it's 1933. All right. I have a pottery kiln. If you like to melt some silver junk into bars, there we go. There we go. Look at this EV Place. He's out here. He's got the picks and shovels and axe. How cool is that? All right. We got somebody trying to smash in here. All right. Okay, let's go. That's 2.3 trillion in silver. The True Trill says is the 40 tons. Okay, if you say so, because that number didn't seem quite right. But I don't know how to calculate how much 40 tons of silver would be. I changed it to ounces and it gave me a +6 for 1.4. I think I blew it because I would have to do 1.411 and then I'd have to add 6 zeros. So it could be 2.3 trillion. Instead of 63, I think I came up with 63 trillion, but either way, trillion is a lot of money. That's $1,000 billion stacks of cash. That's $2,000 billion stacks of cash. That's crazy. That's $20,000 million stacks of cash. You can go a long way with that, even for a country. Once junk silver sells out, the premiums will spike fast because they're the smallest denomination, widely recognizable fixed trade unit for post-collapse. Very well said. That's one of those reasons that since you're here, he's a stacker for sure. He's in this because there's something to be said. If you try to do large denominations, those are hard. You can't break them down, right? So if somebody had like, let's say a pound of gold or pound of silver, now somebody says, well, I want to buy half of that. Well, you can't buy half of it. You have to buy the whole thing. That's why some people, like me, have smaller denominations because those would be easily tradable, swappable, sellable too. It's very well said. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Now, regarding the collapse, though, see, that's the problem. I don't think there's going to be a collapse. What about Chinese competition in AI? Well, there you go. Price to earning ratios are very high. And will American AI companies even be able to source components with this trade war? There you go. Discourse International, welcome to the SSN Nation. I see you know a lot. This is exactly why, if you were here earlier and hear me say check with the bricks, this is why I call it check, because it's not checkmate, because it's all based on what happens with China, or not even China. It could be the rest of the world. Because remember, America has done something that is very, very foolish. We have engineers, we have designers, we have very, very smart people that come that immigrate to America to work with our companies to make us stay on top. Now that we have an immigration policy that says no, 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 they are going to stay in their own country. And now they're going to be against us, so to speak. They're going to be working with AI in China, AI in EU, because the EU just now said last week, hey, man, the way America's acting, we can't depend on them to give us the stuff that we're using right now because they're using American products for facial recognition, for AI and all that. They're like, hold on, we better stop this. We better do it ourselves and have our own source. This is what I tried to tell you guys. Out here acting tough, out here talking smack. You can't talk smack when you actually aren't even a leader yet. So now these people are going back to their countries and saying, let's get busy. This is what I know. This is where they're at. And actually, they wouldn't listen to me. I was saying we could do this and make it a little better, but they didn't want to do it. They said, there's the lead engineer over there. They're going to listen to him. They wouldn't listen to me. So I tweaked his stuff. But check this out. I think you can do it this way. That's how it works. So don't be surprised if somebody else in another country all of a sudden surpasses. And if that happens, oh, this is not going to be good. Because remember that deep seek thing that popped up where they said, oh, we can do all this for a little bit of money, but it turned out, I guess, fake. I don't know. But the fact of the matter is, if something of that nature occurs, we got problems. Big time. What does America actually produce? We have big problems if all of a sudden that's short circuited. And forget about the robo taxis and all this. The other countries already have these. We have Tesla under protection. That's the only reason that America hasn't been overran by the competition. Because if you could go buy a vehicle for $35,000 and it does the same damn thing that Tesla does, you're going to be like, why am I buying a Tesla for 100? You're like, what is this? You might say, well, it might be better built, but I'm going to tell you right now, there's going to be a whole bunch of people that's going to be like, I think I can ride around in a Hyundai that costs 30 G's instead of 100. All I'm saying, or 25 G's or 20 G. They could actually sell one for 20, but they won't allow it in America. Just saying. Self-driving, tap on the window, put in your numbers, all kind of crazy stuff. Because remember, America did the unthinkable again. They said, oh, no, you can't have our software. You can't have Google, any American company that sells the software to China, you're going to, be tariffed or against us or taxed, whatever their thing was. So they said, all right, bet. So now they have their own software, their own stuff. America has no idea the capabilities other than if they get their cars or get their software. But again, check. So now we're competing in the world stage and America doesn't compete anymore. America used to compete. There was no participation trophies back in the day. It was we're kicking ass, taking names, and you don't get to just sit here and be like, oh, yeah, well, oh, we didn't win, but here's a trophy. No, that was world domination at stake. Now we're back to basically 1960s all over again with the world domination theme because America said we're stripping people, our allies, our whoever we're dealing with in business, stripping you, and we're going to do it ourselves, except one problem. America doesn't manufacture like they used to. We have to go outside to manufacture our stuff for the most part at a cheaper price.
So again, we have problems and people don't see this. That's why ultimately, this is why gold, silver, precious metals are going to increase in price and they might hit their true value. Well, not true value, but at least 20 to 30% of their value is not unreasonable over the next year. So I would say even at $85, it could potentially be a good buy. That's all I'm going to say because the rest of the world is buying too, trying to get out from underneath the United States. Silver never goes to zero. That is true. Silver from fallen empire still holds the value of its metal content. There you go. That's exactly right. This is why these treasure hunters are trying to find them gold and silver and all them coins and stuff at the bottom of the oceans, spending millions of dollars because all they need to do is find a little vessel of gold coins. And it's worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Just a little pot of gold coins that's cracked at the bottom of the ocean is hundreds of millions of dollars. That's exactly right. The currency is worth zero. You got that right, Discourse International. That's how it goes. You can cut it. Exactly. Free trade benefits both nations through comparative advantage. This is true in both labor and good markets. That's exactly right. Man, I must be speaking with somebody that knows something about economics because this is exactly what I've been telling people around here. They don't understand this tariff stuff. This is not good. We have a history. It's shown around the world. Once what you do with a tariff, it costs your own citizens more money, especially when you're in the country that doesn't really manufacture. This is crazy. We're getting stuff, parts of things are made and shipped to America from outside of America. So people lie and they say, oh, no, the other country's paying the tariffs. I'm like, dude, you guys better sell something. Order something from a company in outside the United States. And I'm not talking about like a Temu or something. Just get a manufacturing facility, and they're going to go, oh yeah, this product it's $5 shipped to you. Yeah, go pick it up at customs. Sure, you might have paid the third. I don't know, 100 units. Let's call what was that? $5, $500. We'll go more than that because 1,000 units, 5,000, $5,000. You paid them. They shipped it to you. You get it at customs. Customs goes, hey, 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 don't you know they got a 40% tariff? And you're like, what's that mean? I paid them guys $5,000. They're like, what are you talking about right now? You pay that. They don't pay it. Dude, you owe us another 2 Gs. You're like, what? No, I heard the president said, no, they pay for the tariffs. They're like, dude, have you lost your freaking mind right now? You just got your stuff at the border right here in the United States. The tariff is on anything brought in from that country. You're the American company. You're the customer. You bought it. You owe us 2 Gs. Otherwise, we ain't releasing it. That's how it works, just so you know. This is why companies are going out of business because they get products worth, their orders are like 300-400 Gs. And then they come here and they go, it's a 25% tariff. You owe us. And mind you, most of the time you have sales for your product, right? That you have in house. The reason you're making a re-up order is because of future sales. So you don't have the additional 25% that was supposed to be your profit. Now it eats into your profit, or you have to charge 25% more for your items. And if your customer says no dice, you're sitting on 5,000 units, or 1,000 units in this case, because nobody's buying. And guess what? You're going to ship them back. After you paid 7 Gs, now it's going to cost you to ship it back, right? So now you have no sales. You spent the 7, and now you got to spend some more G's to send it back. if they take them back. They could just easily say F you. That happens. Good talk. Free trade is what it should be, pretty much. It should be. It should have been TPP setup that Obama did. That would have settled out, because that was aligned with allies that was trying to keep China in check, because everybody knew that the world was going to be doing manufacturing in China or the Asian market. So they could easily agree, okay, 2%, 3%, nothing crazy. But this new stuff is crazy and benefits nobody other than causes instability around the world. US is run by lawyers, China is run by engineers. I agree with this. And one other point you can add the next, which is the check part, because the next part that China does is they plan 20 to 40 years out. So all their moves, they slow walk it, but they already know what they're going to do to you 40 years from now. They already have the plan. So plan one, let's take Hong Kong back, because UK agreed after X amount of years, we're going to get Hong Kong back. Hong Kong is a capitalist system. We've been communist like. So now we're going to do some capitalist stuff. So they get Hong Kong back, and the rest is history. And they were already doing manufacturing. I was getting stuff over in China in the 1980s. And by the way, it was freaking cool. You know what? Whatever I ordered in China, they would either goes by boat or would go by plane. Boat, generally, it was like 2 months. Crazy. Something like that. They would always go, well, it might take 6 to 8 weeks and by boat, or we can have it to you in 4 days. Air package express. How much is that going to cost? Oh, just a $10 more. Oh, yeah, done. That's the trade that we used to have with China. And that's the trade that we actually had for all of Asia. Japan, China, Taiwan, Korea, Philippines, pretty much all the same. And this is why people started buying products and manufacturing and getting them done in the Asian market, because we had this awesome deal where corporations here could make a lot of money, because you would be able to do just what you guys now see when you found out about what was that? Don't want to say Temu, because Temu's the new thing. It was when China opened it up on the internet, and then you can order directly from the manufacturers there. I can't remember the name of that, because I never used them. But the point is, that's how it was. And then it got this, out of, because they grew up. They used to be this impoverished nation. But then they started saying, well, this is our plan. We better get on par, because we'll never be anything when we have 1 million people and damn near 1 billion people. And we got 990 million of them poor. That's basically what it was like. So they were like, this is not sustainable. We can't share. Where are we going to get all the resources to share with everybody in the communist system? They weren't. So they said, we can only do capitalism. So they slow rolled it, put it in place. It was beautiful. If you go study, it's beautiful stuff. Yeah, Shenzhen has more autonomous taxis than LA. That's right. With China holding a hand on rare earth minerals, it will not change soon. You're exactly right. This is exactly right. And these autonomous taxis are already out. There's people already using them, and they have been using them for 2-3 years. Again, you guys can just go on YouTube, I'm pretty sure, and find them. You can go see for yourself. They've already been rolling. There's none of this Tesla's coming out with whatever testing over in Austin, Texas, San Francisco, LA, and all this nonsense. Waymo still testing. There's none of that. These dudes are already gone. but they can't sell their vehicles in the EU, those in the EU or America, which are the top two markets for EV vehicles, right? So they're selling them to the rest of the world. And BYD is the number one car manufacturer in the world, the one that Musk laughed at 10 years ago or 12 years ago. And they were just like, okay, you can laugh, but see, the problem is China isn't against the rest of the world. The rest of the world says, oh yeah, we love lower prices. And again, you guys have got to understand, America, we get charged. Americans pay more for everything. You guys think it's, but here's the kicker. We pay more. The rest of the world doesn't. You really should travel more. So just because you buy a pair of jeans here for what, 25 to 155, outside of here, $5, $3, because the other worlds, other countries, their currency is different. People don't make as much as they did in America in a lot of countries. So how can they afford the same thing if it costs the same as Americans pay? You couldn't. So the true value isn't what we pay for it, it's way lower. And the only reason people pay for stuff here is because of credit. Most countries don't extend you credit cards like America does. So if you don't have it, you can't buy it. You don't have the money, you can't buy it. You can barter, you can do other things, trades, but you can't buy it. So that cuts off a significant amount of potential buyers. And that's why America, Canada, EU is different than the rest of the world, pretty much. And that's why they're the consumer nations. And the other countries are the low wage manufacturing until they're not. It's pretty simple. This is not even rocket science. A corrupt finance U.S. bros, exactly. Alfa Romeo, you said it best, man. That's exactly what we got going on. Basically, what we have right now is government under this administration that's basically trying to suck up every dollar they can find. And they don't care the havoc of 300 million people. That's basically where we're at. So that's why you have to be in the stock market. You have to have crypto. You have to have a little bit of gold. You got to have all of these little asset groups because you never know what's going to happen. And quite frankly, I would advise that, you keep control of all your information to yourself. I mean, maybe another person that you highly trust, but who can you really trust when it comes to money, right? But the fact of the matter is, this is where this could go. And it could go in our lifetime. I never thought it would be in our lifetime. I used to tell my friends it'll be after I die. I'm figuring I'm going to live to 80, like, 77 to 80, somewhere in there. So I figured it'd be after I die, but I never thought this would be a potential before I die. Well before I die, SHIT can hit the fan. And other countries are maneuvering to be against the United States, even our allies. And that's a problem. Boycotts require individual sacrifice. Yeah. The decision to participate in that sacrifice should be made at the individual level. That's true. Convince individuals of the merit of a boycott. Do not force participation. That is true. It's true on trade sanctions. That is correct. I like discourse.international. He's saying the truth. Causes should be funded by voluntary contribution because the contribution is also a form of sacrifice instead of taxation. You're damn right. Exactly. 110%. See, he's starting to get into some things that this dude must have to be a silver stacker, gold stacker or something. This is honestly great news. It means things become cheaper in real terms if we cut out the red tape and taxes that cause things to be so expensive here. That's true. But we're not cutting out the red tape we're going to cut out the red tape at the citizens' worst nightmare. And taxes are going to go up. not coming down, because that's the only source that the government can get money from you and keep you poor. And everybody who owns a house knows their property taxes went up, right? Everybody that owns a house knows their insurance has went up if you can get insurance. So you're locked. So if you live somewhere, you may not, if you don't keep have if money doesn't keep rolling in, right? And since they're printing more money as we speak, because now we got the $200 billion bond thing that Trump wants to do, they have to, bond means they're printing that money out of thin air, creating more money in the money supply, which increases inflation. This is very simple. So even though you might have a lower rate for your mortgage, unfortunately, a house is a liability. So now they have you locked into a 30-year or 15-year or 40-year note. Meanwhile, do you know how much your insurance and property taxes are going to be next year? You don't. Right. Because that's going to be based on, the insurance company looks at their numbers and go, hey, man, hey, we have to drop these high risk people for the payouts and keep these people. But since it's less people, we have to charge them. Oh, is that another $1,000 this year? Well, who cares? We're not going to go broke, says the insurance company. Send it out. Your premium renewal is going to cost you another $1,000 in addition to last year. Take it or leave it, or go to a B-rated insurance company, which is actually one of our partners, but we're not going to tell you this because you're going to be expected to pay more when you're not going with us, the tier one. See how it works, ladies and gentlemen. This is America. Do you know where you live? All right, enough. I got to roll. This is why you need a little bit of gold, silver, and precious metals, ladies and gentlemen. I love the conversation tonight. Very happy to see we have a bunch of smart individuals, investors in the house, and the discussion, as usual, is always awesome. Make sure, again, you have everything in place down below in the description box. If you need debt consolidation resolution, then you got to meet up with Tracy by email. tracy.sharpe, SHARPE, at moneyladder.com. She'll get you hooked up with your debt. No bankruptcy required. No debt collections required. Just let her restructure it for you. It takes 1 year, 1 year to 2 years in most cases. At the other side of that, you got your 775. Get on it now, because I want you guys to take advantage of that 0% for 36 months when it comes out. Just remember, I told you so. All right. There we go. Here we go. I personally will not invest my metal in American businesses or real estate until taxation is ended. I agree with you 100%, man. But geez, I got the tax bills, man. This stuff is crazy. They're doing 1.4%, crazy, of the value of the house. It's crazy, man, what they're doing out here. Taxation's not ending. That's the first part. Taxation's not ending. So unless you have a plan for taxation, that's going to have to be on another day, because that's unavoidable. Sales tax will continue to rise. Property taxes, insurance, healthcare, groceries. That's survival. And there's no way to stop it. So therefore, you have to be able to make more money, which gold and silver does not allow, because you have to hold it. And just because it went up to these prices today, you can't sell it and be good, because you would have to use that to invest into something else so you have long-term growth. If, let's say, you don't work at all, it's not sustainable. So you have to make money from other sources, except a few mining operations. Yeah, there's only like 2 or 3, quite frankly. I agree with you. It's hard to be in the mining participation. That's kind of hard. But if you're at this ground zero where they're digging it out and being like, hey, man, here's a little something, something, that would be much, much better. Here's a couple ounces a day or something. That'd be cool. But, trying to invest in those, Here we go. Uh-oh. I earn income preparing tax returns, so my income is solid until taxation. Exactly, man. Exactly. Exactly. But there you go. See, once you do, you know what, though? Most people, I will say this as well. Maybe I should talk about this more often since Discourse International's here. Um, you guys, he's a tax preparer. You should study the tax system. Take your time instead of watching videos all the time or these shorts or anything like that. You should study taxes because once you start getting into taxes, then you start getting a little upset, especially if you start going into corporations, into business, and you start realizing these because you have these corporation businesses, there's so many different loopholes. You're sitting there like, wait a minute. Same thing you can actually do, but it has to be corporations, commercial. Just like I'll give you a simple example. So you have a commercial house or apartment complex, right? And you buy it for, it doesn't matter, $2 million. There's depreciation that you can take out every year based on a formula. So the profits that you're making can be offset. So that's one. Two, you can do what I hate to keep using the guy's name. You can do what Trump did. You can just out mismanage and then say I lost $1 billion. I mean, I'm just using that example, but you can say I lost X amount of dollars and it writes it up on the paper we lost and effed it up. And then you could say, well, I'm not going to take that right off in 1 year. I'll take it over. How long? 10 years? Can I do it? I'll let the tax guy talk about it, but not today. All right, Discourse International. I won't get into it no more, man. I can't because this is starting to get into where I start talking for another hour, and we've already been on for 3 hours, man. Writings on the wall for the U.S. says Alfa Romeo. I'm not buying a house unless it's cash, less than half my net worth. Our interest rate is back to 2 to 3%, ideally outside my county, so I can be off grid. I like that plan. I like that plan. By the way, the United States, I do believe there will be a housing rush. So once again, why? Because of what Trump is going to do. I think they are going to do it. What am I saying? They are going to do it because there's a stock market component, mortgage backed securities. Those are on the stock market. They can sell those in the form of stocks and the form of derivatives. So therefore, that's what they're going to do. He's talking about 200 billion right now out of thin air, which means they're bonds. And that means they're printing more money, which means more inflation, which means gold and silver and precious metals are going up. And that also means your houses are going up, your taxes are going up, your transportation costs are going, everything's going up. So therefore, the one thing though, this 2 to 3%, that's where they're trying to go. The Federal Reserve has already given 0% interest loans to you know who, the preferred. They're going to give those type of loans to the builders, the developers, to the banks. All these people are going to have their 1%, 1.5 interest onlys so they can give you a mortgage where they tell you, oh, it's 5.75, but you know what? If you give us an extra $50 to $100,000, you can buy that down to 5.2. See how much you save over the course of 30 years. That's what they do. And they'll slowly get down to 3 because once you get to 4.5, I told you guys this before, once they get to about 4.5, all of a sudden people lose their minds. But they're not thinking about money management. They're going, I can get this house. And yeah, so what if it doesn't cost 429, the average price no more, and it costs 595? I can afford it. Yeah, you can afford it because they're going to let you get up to 40% of your money you earn at work is gone. And then you're going to have a problem making the payments over the course of the next 10 to 15 years because your insurance and your property taxes are going to go up every year. And never mind how old your house is, depending on the manufacturing and how it was built, what your rehab is going to cost, or whatever you're going to have to deal with is going to cost. You see how they're going to get you, right? It's a liability in reality. Let's just call it what it is. The only reason it turns into anything else is because when they go down under 4.75 for the mortgage rate and it gets to 4.5, the reason why things don't make sense is because in America, people will then start buying and paying more for a house because it costs them less now, theoretically. And so the price goes up because people are bidding on houses. And so the people who bought, like now, they have a lower value, and the other people get that $300,000-$400,000 pop, and they get to ride off into the sunset into a lower priced home in a different state or different city in the same state. So that's how it works. Same thing. All right, enough. We got to get out of here, ladies and gentlemen. I can talk about this all night with this crew tonight. Got to get that cost segregation study. Got to get that cost segregation study. Okay, there's two things I think about when I hear the word segregation. Everything the government does that is worthwhile can be funded by voluntary contributions. You're correct. If people want things, they will pay for them, including Social Security. That is correct. But Social Security comes out every payroll tax, every time. You know how it works since you're in the tax business. So if your payrolls are down, which the United States has payrolls down because manufacturing is down, therefore we have less going into Social Security. Also, when you are arresting migrants off the street and they contribute nearly $900 or $1 billion or whatever it is, $100 billion to the economy, and the taxes they get taken out goes into the Social Security fund and other funds, that's missing. Some of that's going to be missing now. That was free. So now United States citizens have to be putting in, otherwise it's bye-bye for Social Security. So the safety nets are being slowly dwindled away because the taxpayers' money that you're giving the government isn't going to social services. So when FEMA's not coming to see you in North Carolina or South Carolina or St. Louis, Missouri, or over there in the California fires, or for that hurricane that happened a year or two or three ago, now you understand where the money's going to. It's going up out of into the big boys who's already have money's hands. This is crazy. This is real crazy. All right, here we go. The government has an unsustainable debt path. That's correct. That was societal security, police. I understand Social Security is doomed. You're right. It's all doomed. Social Security started at 1%. Now it's 12%. No wonder with taxes as well that young people can't afford to have kids. Exactly. Can't be done. You live in a third world country. You just don't know it yet because we have world currency. If we had world currency, it would already been. If we did not have it, it would have been already over. If we would have had, if we would have been Spain, Italy, they basically the countries that's in the EU. This is exactly what happened to them. So that's why they had to create altogether. We got to do an EU because they already did the same thing, printed to the oblivion. Their currencies are worth garbage, and singularly worth garbage. But together they were able to mount up. Hey, we got Germany. You know, it's cool. We got France. We got Spain. We got Italy. We got the UK at one time when the UK was still something. Uh, you know, so now all of a sudden, the United States is going to be all by themselves if the collapse occurs. No, there's no if. When the collapse occurs, we don't have friends that we can say, "Hey, man, the currency's effed up. We got to change." The U.S. is going to have to make decisions, but we're not there yet. There's always a chance of a recourse. There's always a chance that somebody, somehow, some way, this, I don't know how in the next 3 years, but 3 years is all it's going to take to destroy this. And the wealthy will have a lot of money. They already do. All right. You guys know the numbers. And we have 30% of our population, just like Alfa Romeo said, can't afford to have children. Getting to be like Japan. If you don't have children, then that means you don't have any tax base in about 20 years, 25 years. You're going to have you potentially could have two generations where you have a small amount of tax base. If this continues, they're not going to be able to buy homes. So now what? You're not going to be able to find livable wage jobs at 20 years old or 18 years old. Now what? You can see where this goes. I mean, this is where it's going, quite frankly. There's no other, there would have to be somebody, well, we had a chance, but we blew it. Somebody that understands economics who's not sitting over here trying to make their friends all rich while the rest of us are like grasping for air. Um, I want to avoid collapse in the sense of famine, yeah, but there are real changes that will need to be made to avoid it. We can regrow our economy with the right changes, which includes canceling fiat. Ooh, you done hit it right on the head, man. Food assistance. Where are you going to get that from? This could go on and on. Again, this is very serious because what he is saying, this is exactly what I've been talking about over the years, is because once you don't have food assistance, once you don't have farming, once your water is tainted from data centers, by the way, toxic chemicals, um, now you can't eat your food or grow your food with toxic, wasted waters and soil. And with no regulation, this is where you go. And now more people get sick. And then we have a government that now says you don't need Medicare or Medicaid or nothing. So now you start getting more of your citizens sick. Then you have offshoots from that sickness. Now all of a sudden you start having 10% of your population sick, 15% of your population, 20%. Now all of a sudden you have old people and 20 to 30% of people sick. Now what? Now where are the jobs going to come from when you start talking robotics, AI, and things like that? Are they going to be livable wages? Because already we're trending downward, no livable wage jobs for the most part. So now what? So you can easily see this goes to third world status. And like I said, I thought it was going to be when I died, but it's going to be before I die. And like Discourse International has said, there is a way to change it, but unfortunately, we're in a matrix right now that if we stay on this path that this regime is doing, if we print another $2 trillion this year and come with another out of thin air, $1 trillion for ICE, $1 trillion that we owe for interest only, we don't make that much money. So now where's it going to come from when your taxpayers don't have jobs? Or your taxpayers are working two jobs or working two part-time jobs or working jobs that they only get 35 hours a week, so they don't give them 40 hours, so they don't have to give them health care. Then they get sick for 2 days, and next thing you know, they have a bill for 25 G's. Can't pay it. So now what? The hospital goes out of business, which is happening in rural areas as we speak. People have to drive up hour and a half away from where they live to get to a medical facility in America. Because you guys are sitting out here going, oh, yeah, you know, that Elon Musk guy, the guys at Bezos and all these dudes, yeah, we don't want to tax those guys a little extra. In fact, after they pay a few $100,000 into Social Security, they don't have to pay anymore because they're so rich. And America, the rich guys wrote the rules. So, so what if they made $10 billion? They don't need to tax. They don't need to put any more into Social Security. But every day all the workers are getting their payroll taxes taken out every paycheck because you don't get to make the threshold number. Which, by the way, come on, 90. What is the number? It's 50% sure don't. 3.2 million. Personal wealth, they may make the number that you need to only pay a certain amount up to the Social Security number and don't have to contribute anymore. That could be true. But again, very good conversation. We're going to have to keep this going another day. Please join us on Wednesday night at 8:50 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's been 3 hours. Thank you so much, everybody. It will take a combination of solutions in a post-fiat world. We can exchange real value for real value, including copper and silver coinage. This is true. Free market competition will regulate markets better. That is very true as well. Unfortunately, we already have 20% plus sick population with obesity and chronic health issues, and healthcare is even more screwed than college tuition and everything else. Exactly. Yeah, I know it's more than 20. I was just trying to be not be the scary guy tonight, because one of these days I'm going to do another video, because I haven't done one in a while, where I'm going to be the scary guy and get the actual numbers, because it's really, really like 60% when you include the elderly. It's crazy that people do not understand what is happening right underneath their feet. And there's no way to medically cover all these people, which now means hospitals foot the bill, taxpayers foot the bill, or hospitals go bye-bye. And your care suffers. And now that we have nurses and doctors no longer professionals according to the Trump regime, they now no longer get funding or what do you call it in school? Financial aid to go study the new and improved medical treatments, care, and things like that. Now they have to pay out of pocket. That's not good, because it's not like $300. So now no longer classifying them as professionals now means healthcare is under stress. Less people are going to give a damn, less people are going to be in the field. And you have an aging and youthful group of people who are going to be sick and are sick as we speak. This is not manageable. This is actually going down. Thank you for bringing that up. I heard health insurance rates also went up a lot this year. Yes, 4x, 3x, 4x. You are right. You heard correct. I have people that have received their renewals 3x, 4x, and they're paying already like $350. Now it's $1,000. Not sustainable, and no help from the government. But let's buy $200 billion worth of mortgage-backed securities and bonds. Let's spend $1 trillion on ICE and Gestapo. Let's spend another few billions, hundreds of billions on prisons and concentration camps. Instead of these people working in America paying taxes, now you have less people working in America and less people paying taxes, which now means everything goes up in price to offset it. It's a 50% challenge. If it costs me 25% more, that means I got to get that 25% from somewhere else. All right, let's go. I only carry health insurance because divorce decree demands it. It's insanely expensive. Exactly. That's why health is wealth now. You can't go rogue out here, ladies and gentlemen. Just because you have some guy who's acting as a health professional who isn't even a doctor tell you not to take vaccines and don't do this, that. He's not even a doctor, never studied to be giving advice, and people are taking it. And now we have measles all over the place. I mean, this is absolutely ridiculous. Oh, but by the way, you get to die or you get to go to the hospital, and there you go. Thousands of dollars not going to be paid. Makes no sense. Hurting the American people on purpose is crazy. It's like somebody's a Russian asset. All right, I got to rush out of here. make sure you smash the like button. If you like what we're talking about, please subscribe to the channel. Click the all notification bell. I got to get some sleep. And I love you guys very much. And please like, subscribe, and click the bell below so you get the latest updates. And I know it's hard out here. So all I can tell you is you got to keep your mind stable as possible, relax, and don't get into too much of anything, because there's a lot of people out here stressed. 80 to 85% of our population is living paycheck to paycheck during the month, and they know they're only one paycheck away from something bad. So keep that in mind, all right? Because you know how it works. People should walk more. It's more sustainable than most forms of activity and has many advantages beyond physical health. That's right, cardiovascular. It's also low impact. It's also making your cardiovascular, makes your blood pump. It also gets out some toxins if you sweat a little bit, so you should have a little more fast pace, not just normally meandering about, and a few others. But he's exactly right. Very, very well said. That's what you got to do, ladies and gentlemen. So no matter what you do out here, just make sure you keep a level head, and above all, keep your head up, keep moving, and I'm